Unparking.
Kuna wengine wanajiita honorable me.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Naam, ikiwa ni siku ya 11 wa mwezi wa Mei, hujambo popote pale ulipo na karibu. Jina langu ni Dahira Ahmed. Na tukitanguliza, Kenya imeandaa mkutano wa Afrika Ufaransa jijini Nairobi, ukiwaleta pamoja Rais William Ruto, Rais wa Ufaransa Emmanuel Macron na zaidi ya marais 20 wa Afrika katika chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Mkutano huo wa ngazi ya juu unaonyesha nafasi inayokuwa ya jiji la Nairobi kama kituo cha diplomasia na uchumi kwa Afrika na washirika wake wa kimataifa. Mkutano huo umejikita katika kuimarisha ushirikiano, kuelekeza ukuaji unaoongozwa na uwekezaji, huku mjadala mkuu ukihusu nishati, miundombinu, usafiri na teknolojia. Viongozi pia wanatarajiwa kujadili nafasi ya Afrika katika uchumi wa kidijitali na mikakati ya kuimarisha maendeleo endelevu barani humo.
And I'm going to ask Kate why she chose Kenya. I would really want to know why, out of all the other countries, why there must be something in Kenya that gave I'm talking about. So making sure that some of the best companies across the world come to participate with us. Last year, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, set up office in Kenya. We have many BPO companies set up in Kenya. Why? Because we have young people with the right skills, we have the right infrastructure in terms of internet connectivity, and we have a very enterprising and entrepreneurial population. So in my opinion, this is the space in which we are operating, and I think every other country should be able to think in that direction, because the future is about technology, the future is digital, and AI is going to be at the center of it.
Na tukisalia na haya, Rais William Ruto na Katibu Mkuu wa Umoja wa Mataifa Antonio Guterres wameisifu Umoja wa Mataifa wakisema bado inafaa kuwa kwa madhumuni yake licha ya changamoto zinazobadilika duniani. Viongozi hawa wawili pia wamekaribisha mpango wa upanuzi wa makao makuu ya Umoja wa Mataifa eneo la Gigiri, wakisema kuwa miundombinu mpya itaongeza uwezo wa shirika hilo kujibu mahitaji ya dunia na kuimarisha utekelezaji wa dhamira yake ya kimataifa.
Particularly important at a time when multilateralism is under considerable strain from geopolitical fragmentation, growing mistrust, fiscal pressures, and widening global inequalities. In this context, the United Nations office at Nairobi stands as a powerful expression of inclusivity, geographical balance, and the universality of the UN system.
From its beginning in the 70s as the home of UNEP and UN Habitat, this campus, generously donated by the government of Kenya, is a place where global challenges meet regional solutions, where innovation is born, and where the future of multilateralism is being shaped every day. This is a powerful demonstration of what United Nations can achieve when we are focused, efficient, and united in purpose.
Na shughuli ya siku 3 ya uokoaji kuwatafuta wachimbaji migodi waliokuwa wamenaswa baada ya mgodi wa Ogago kuporomoka huko Bondo hatimaye imekamilika baada ya miili ya wachimbaji 3 waliopoteza maisha kupatikana. Tukio hilo limeacha majonzi na huzuni kubwa, huku familia na jamaa za marehemu wakikusanyika kwa maombi maalum kwa kumbuka wapendwa wao. Inaripotiwa kuwa miili ya mwisho iliyopatikana ilikuwa ya ndugu wawili, hali iliongeza huzuni zaidi kwa familia zilizoathirika.
Tungeomba county government ili watusaidie vile tunaweza kufanya mambo ya bill mochari hadi wafike nyumbani wazikwe. Hatuna uwezo hata moja.
Watu hawa wanaishi kwa maisha ya umaskini, hawana hata njia za kusomesha watoto wao. Nchi yenyewe ni mawe bure, vile unavyoona kila mahali ni mawe. Hawana hata njia ya kulima ama nchi yenyewe sio ardhi ambayo unaweza panda ama kulima mimea.
Na tukiachana na hao, maandalizi ya uchaguzi mdogo unaotarajiwa sasa yameingia hatua ya mwisho baada ya masanduku ya kura kuwasili nchini. Tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka ya IEBC imepokea shehena 3 za vifaa vya kura katika uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta. Karatasi za kura ziliwasili pamoja na fomu rasmi za uchaguzi. Vifaa hivyo vitatumika katika uchaguzi mdogo wa mbunge wa eneo la Emurua Dikir, kaunti ya Narok, kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet.
The ballot papers have arrived. We have 3 pallets of them at the moment, which at this point in time we are taking to the national warehouse for subsequent dispatch to the electoral areas. That is tomorrow. The preparation is ready. The logistics is done, and by tomorrow, by this morning, by around 8-9 in the morning, we shall be dispatching them to the various electoral areas for the election. Dispatch and the breaking of bulk will be done on Wednesday. So that each and every polling station by Wednesday evening, they shall be getting their ballot papers.
Washukiwa wawili Beryl Nafula Otenyo na Felix Odinga Okumu wamefikishwa katika mahakama ya Nakuru kuhusiana na mauaji ya Julius Ndumia ambaye ni mhubiri katika kanisa la PCEA. Mchungaji huyu aliuawa mnamo tarehe 4 mwezi huu ndani ya eneo la kanisa la PCEA. Pelelezi waliomba mahakama iwape siku 30 za kuwazuilia washukiwa hao ili kukamilisha uchunguzi baada ya wawili hao kupatikana wakiwa na simu ya marehemu. Hata hivyo, mahakama ilitoa siku 21 pekee kwa maafisa hao kukamilisha uchunguzi. Washukiwa hao sasa wanazuiliwa katika kituo cha polisi cha Menengai wakisubiri kutajwa tena kwa kesi hiyo tarehe 3 mwezi wa Juni.
Tuliweza recover exhibits, tuliweza kupata mobile phone. Wakiwa na mobile phone ya deceased, ikiwa pamoja na SIM card zake. So tunahitaji muda ili kupeleka ndio tuweze kulink na suspicious transactions ambazo zimefanyika za M-Pesa.
Having balanced the rights of the accused hearing and the rights of the prosecution to conduct investigations. Having considered all the above, therefore I decline the grant of the 30 days sought by the investigating officer. However, as the respondents have not initially objected to the 30 days stay, I will grant the prosecution only 21 days to detain the respondents hearing at Menengai Police.
Na nikitamatisha, huduma za afya katika kaunti ya Embu huenda zikavurugika baada ya wauguzi kutoa notisi ya mgomo wa siku 7 kwa serikali ya kaunti, wakilalamikia kutotekelezwa kwa makubaliano walioyafikia mwaka 2024. Akizungumza na wanahabari mjini Embu, katibu wa chama cha wauguzi tawi la Embu, Macharia Kanderi, amesema makubaliano hayo yalihusu kupandishwa vyeo vya wauguzi wataalam wenye umri wa miaka 57 na zaidi, pamoja na wauguzi waliobaki katika daraja moja la kazi kwa zaidi ya miaka 7 licha ya kustahili kupandishwa vyeo. Kanderi amesema ni kipengele kimoja tu kati ya 4 kilichotekelezwa, na kuonya kuwa wauguzi wanatishia huduma iwapo serikali ya kaunti haitachukua hatua ndani ya siku 7.
Kwanza ilikuwa wale wauguzi wamefikisha miaka 57 kwenda juu kabla waende retire waweze kuwa promoted. Ya pili ilikuwa wale ambao wamekaa miaka 7 kwenda juu lakini hawana miaka 57 pia wakuwe promoted. Ya tatu ilikuwa wale specialists pia wakuwe promoted. Ya 4 ilikuwa wote ambao wamefikisha mwaka wa kupromotiwa waweze kupata. Lakini county government imefanya moja tu, ile stage 1. Hizo zingine 3 haijafanya. Tukigoja tuone advert ya interview hakuna. Sasa kwa wakati huu tumepeana strike notice ambayo inarani siku 7. Kama siku 7 ikiisha, kama hawajatuita, haitakuwa budi sisi kuweka virago chini.
Na kufikia hapo, mtazamaji, sina budi ila kutamatisha habari zetu za saa 1 jioni, ila nakutakia usiku mwanana. Jina langu ni Dahira.
This is Radio Generation.
We are Radio Generation. We would like to thank you for choosing us. We are mandated by the Communications Authority of Kenya to ensure that our programming is in compliance with the terms of our license. Kindly send your complaints to us via info@rgk.co.ke as well as inbox via our social media platforms. We will review and respond within 30 days of receipt. Thank you for choosing Radio Generation.
business news on Radio Generation.
Good evening, I am Dahira Ahmed. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has defended the Finance Bill 2026, saying the proposed tax changes have been misunderstood. Speaking in Nairobi, he said the reforms aim to widen the tax base, simplify compliance for businesses and individuals, and improve revenue collection without increasing the burden on ordinary Kenyans. Mbadi said the government is proposing a simplified tax structure for the second-hand clothing sector.
We will recommend to Parliament to bring it back as an amendment because it is addressing an industry problem. And before anyone criticizes this, they should engage the Mitumba people themselves. And saying that the Mitumba clothes will be more expensive is far from the truth. The truth is that if these Mitumba people were to pay taxes today, which they should, based on their income.
And oil prices rose after President Donald Trump called Iran's response to U.S. peace proposals totally unacceptable. Iran, sending its reply through Pakistan, demanded an immediate end to the conflict and guarantees against further U.S.-Israeli attacks. Brent crude jumped 4.1% to $105 a barrel before easing slightly. And that's all we have for our business news. For more business updates, go on to radiogeneration.co.ke. Good evening. I am Dahira Ahmed.
That's the business on Radio Generation. This is Radio Generation.
Radio Generation. The sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This week, power was tested in the corridors of leadership, economies shook under pressure, and the voices of ordinary citizens demanded to be heard. From breaking decisions in high office to protests in the streets, from moments of triumph to tragedies that stopped us in our tracks, these are the headlines that shaped our week. And beyond the noise, we search for what really matters, the connections, the context, the stories behind the stories. And this is your weekly news roundup on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
A very good evening to you and welcome to the Generation Report. My name is Mungala Mbuvi and in studio I am with Hanifa Adan. Let me tell you something, Hanifa, you didn't know. First of all, good evening.
Good evening.
Uko namna gani?
Salama.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was great.
You know, the Kamba in me, anatakanga kusema Hanifa Adan. No, sorry, the Paul Mungala Mbuvi, but the Kamba in me, the DNA says Hanifa Handan.
Usinibadilishe jina jamani,
So ile siku deske nimesema so Hanifa, wewe kubali tu.
I will understand you, don't worry.
Unisikia nikisema tu Hanifa Handan, by the way, wewe to flow to nayo.
I will accept it, don't worry.
How was your weekend was good?
How was yours?
Mine was very long. Tulipata msiba kama familia. So
pole sana.
It was a double tragedy. So we are juggling between just seeing how we can lay our loved ones to rest.
Pole sana.
Yeah, so it, especially during the weekend in Shago, it has really taken away.
Yes.
Energy, pia morale, vitu nyingi, lakini wanasemanga katika hii space yetu ya media, life has to go
on.
Life has to go on.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
Let me say fortunately, because you see, the people who are alive have got to continue and make life better.
Yes.
First of all, for themselves and for the people around them.
Yes.
Yeah. So either way, even through hard times, through hardships, through the tears and the sad times, you have to go to. Lazima ukumbuke pia kuna watu wengine, and you try your best to ensure that you live for them. Yes.
So and live through hope. Yeah.
Exactly. So despite it all, tunasema life has to go on.
Yes, the show must go on.
Yes, indeed. Now, what do you have for us today? What? Because you know, every Monday, unatuambianga some significant event or thing that we might have forgotten? What do you think we have forgotten today?
For this week, honestly,
Yes.
I want to talk about something troubling, deeply troubling for all of us as Kenyans.
Yes.
And kuna concerns mingi on social media already. So, Kenya hates its children, and there is no safer way to say it anymore.
Yeah.
Children are being killed everywhere, in rivers, pit latrines, in homes, in schools, in churches. Their bodies keep turning up, and the country keeps moving forward like nothing happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the video in Muranga.
I saw you sent it to the WhatsApp group, but maybe at this point nimeogopa kufungua video kama hizo.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
We have bodies of children being dragged from a river as the residents watch in horror. It is terrible. It is, I can't even speak of it.
Yeah.
So their bodies are being dragged out of the river. Small bodies are floating in water like abandoned projects. Actually, one is believed to be around 3 years old.
Okay.
Children are raped and killed in Nakuru. Babies are dumped in pit latrines in Nairobi. Children disappear during floods in Mathare and Mukuru.
Yeah.
Kids die from starvation in Kilifi cult camps. So we have Shakahola, we have Kericho,
Yes.
we have Endarasha, and now Muranga. Every week there is another missing child poster. Every week there is another grieving mother. Every week there is another small coffin. Every week, every single week, a child is missing. A child has been defiled. A child has been murdered. We have become numb to the deaths of children in this country.
Yeah.
And it is honestly not okay. Kenya is failing its children brutally and publicly. We are failing our children. Our children are dying.
In the case of the kids that were pulled out of a river, has the government or someone in authority said anything?
No, they didn't even say anything about the mass grave in Kericho. That was over 25 bodies of children exhumed. No one. And it is very ironical when the CS for gender, Hannah, came out to say or to brag about how they've worked and achieved or protected children and stuff, which is a clear lie. It is a lie. No one is looking out for the children. There's no statement. No one is saying anything at all.
Yeah.
It is so alarming. Watoto wetu wanakufa kila mahali. Why is it not a national crisis? So it is so sad. I'm so heartbroken that we've become this numb.
Like you've said, it's number one, unfortunate, it's very wrong. But now the question is, kuna mtu alisema hapa last week that we usually talk these things in the media, we write it in the papers, and then we chase the next what is it called, headline. It's like we don't say anything else beyond that.
Sai hata hiyo headlines hakuna. There's no headline at all. So it means tumechoka sana na watoto wetu. We don't even care anymore.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. And something has got to be done.
Yes.
Who will do it? But who should do it?
We have a whole ministry.
Who should do it?
Oh, wait. We have a whole ministry for that. Hannah.
Yeah.
Cheptumo.
Right.
Yeah, Hannah Cheptumo, if I got it right. Yeah, she is the CS for gender. Arts, Yeah. And she was the one who came out with a statement trying to say that they've achieved a lot in terms of protecting children and stuff, which is not what we are saying. The results are not what they're trying to make it.
Yeah.
So yes, someone has got, even the DCI, no one is investigating what is going on, what has been going on. So someone has got to...
Is it possible that something is happening, it's just that they are not saying it?
Of course.
Like the way when your parents are looking for school fees, they are struggling for you. They don't necessarily come and announce it, but you see the results. Is it possible that something of that sort is happening?
That they're working behind the scenes?
Yeah.
No.
It's just that it has not been reported, or they themselves have not to come out.
You think the government can do something and not run the PR advantage
No,
with it.
if we there's something we can say about our current government, this specific one, the Kenya Kwanza government, is that they're very poor in communication. Okay?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they are quiet on this one, or they want to say something on this one, or they're preparing a statement on it, but the government, even when they have done what is considered good or their responsibility, their communication inakuanga chini sana.
Yes.
Hawajui kusema that, hey guys, we have done this, we have disbursed this, we have taken this, we have, it's like they don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Wanakuanga na hiyo shida, wanakuanga na hiyo issue. But anyway, that is that. A couple of things happened in the last 1 week. For example, our president was in Tanzania. Did you see him in Tanzania?
Yes.
Did you see how Tanzanians received him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They were literally worshipping him.
Yeah. Apart from that one incident where he said, where there's something he said about the refinery in Tanga. The oil refinery in Tanga, or rather the one that is supposed to be built in Tanga. And then the president of Tanzania, that is Mheshimiwa Suluhu, akuja akasema ati Mheshimiwa, hizi vitu unataja huko na mimi sijui, labda unieleze sababu sijui.
I think that was such a diplomatic embarrassing moment for us. It was so embarrassing.
Because you know, if it were here in Kenya, and then you say something like tutajenga Tanga au sijui tutafanya nini, okay, tutajenga refinery Nakuru, I think our president would probably call the other guy and be like, okay, so tunajenga tunataka pesa ngapi? So hii ndio pesa tunahitaji. Shamba ni nini, tumepanga kila kitu. Sasa usijali, sasa tukifika pale wacha mimi ndo nitasema hiyo story. You know, me, that's how I picture our government.
Of course, yeah.
Because the rate at which lies come from this government, they are quite high.
Of course.
But anyway, the president of Tanzania came out and just said, hey bro, next time, if you're going to promise anything, and especially if it's going to be done here, please at the very least,
inform me.
Consult, ndio tujue. I can probably even give you a better location. But it is my understanding that Tanga, that area of Tanga, is a special economic zone. That means that even the taxes around that area are favorable to something such as a refinery, an oil refinery. And of course our president has that information. So maybe that's why perhaps he jumped the gun and said what he said, and he thought President Samia would be like, asante sana mheshimiwa rais, tulikuwa tumepanga yes, nakumbuka tukiongea hiyo story. You know, it's like when couples do something, you might be angry at your person, but for the sake of the image, you will flow the information.
Yes.
But behind the scenes, utamwambia next time tafadhali,
Yes.
usiende nisikuona ukisema sema kufanya hizo vitu. So it was that moment. But there's something else that President Samia also said. Mambo ya mikwaju. Mambo ya mikwaju, akasema wakija kule Tanzania tunatandika mikwaju, wakikuja kule Kenya pia wewe wataandike mikwaju. What do you think about this violence that has been promised from Tanzania?
Mimi hata sikuwa najua mikwaju ni viboko siku hizi. It's the obvious, you know.
Yeah.
I think East African presidents are very scared of the political consciousness that is happening around East Africa.
Yeah.
Wanaogopa. So the only thing they have in mind is how do we get rid of this? How do we punish these kids? Hao watoto wajinga wanafaa kuchapwa. So they are really, I don't know, they don't want to face the reality that yes, young people are awakened.
Yeah.
Young people washajua sasa. Tumeona yani.
Na sisi tukubali kutandikwa mikwaju.
Tukubali. I saw Kenyans reacting to it on
on social media.
On social TikTok. So one guy was sitting in a police car and alafu yasema ati unataka kutuchapa wewe Samia, unataka kutuchapa. Watu wenye wanaweza fanya hivi. So okay, typical Kenyan content. So I love the fact that young people do not buy fear. They've tried a lot of things with bullets and guns and tear gas, kila kitu.
Yes.
They are not scared. So they're wondering what is wrong with these kids.
If there's one thing I like about the Kenyan youth is the fact that they are fearless.
Oh yes.
It is the fact that they are very vocal. It is the fact that will not just tell them something and they take it lying down. They might even be wrong.
Yes.
They might tell you things in a bad way.
Yeah.
But they will tell you.
I love the culture shock that happened since 2024. So unasikia tu different politicians coming out to say these kids are mannerless. Why are you talking to us like that? They've never been questioned before in the manner that they have been questioned.
In Tanzania
now? No, in Kenya. 2024 mpaka sasa walikuwa nasema parents should discipline their children.
Yes.
Nyinyi watoto hamna adabu. Why are you talking like this? Hawajawahi na kitu kayo. Wamezoea tu, you know, like our parents wanaogopanga politicians, but they really call them out. Of course, without shitting on our previous generation that fought so hard for the freedom that we enjoy. But you know, the generational difference of calling out politicians to account, and the way that they do it, the fearless brave face that they put on, inawashangaza. They've been shocked, and I love it when they get shocked. What do you mean you're talking to me like this?
You know, in case someone missed it, which I highly doubt you did, but let me just play for you in case you've just landed in Kenya today. Suluhu na mikwaju yake. Ebu tusikie. Hii volume leo isitake kuniaibisha because tutakosana nayo vibaya sana. Ni kama kidogo volume inaleta shida. Lakini nonetheless.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Atukasema?
No, that is my lame attempt.
Atila hala wala what now?
No, it's ahlan wa sahlan.
Sawa. What does that mean?
I guess like a greetings if you watch the other Swahili reporters.
Clearly I haven't. So in the same breath that you know, Mama Samia nimejaribu kucheza video, sauti imekataa kutoka. Acha nisingangane nayo sana, naweza ngangana nichome kila kitu hapa hivi. But nonetheless, the president said that, and then of course our own leaders had a few things to say. For example, Matiang'i, who is the Jubilee candidate, presidential candidate, and also party leader of Jubilee, he said that would have been a good opportunity for our own president, that is President Ruto, to actually tell Mama Samia, no. In Kenya, we respect human rights. In Kenya, we respect our citizens. And he went on to say, these young people have got a voice. And them agitating for their rights or agitating for what they want isn't a bad thing. It's actually an opportunity to have an exchange of sorts. Mtu akikuja kuambie Hanifa kwa mfano, akuja kuambia maneno, unamsikiza kwanza, unasema okay, umesema hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. That is a very good thing, but my opinion is this. It's as simple as that. And by the way, who said that young people do not offer valuable advice to governments? The young people, because look, young people are the majority.
Yes.
When we're talking about Kenyan median age being 19, the median age for Kenya is 19 years old. So that means that we have got a lot of young people on this on this country of ours, in this country of ours.
And they have so much potential.
Yes. We are the ones who are working in industries. Watu wa jua kali. Young people ndio wanatenda hizi sufuria tunapika nazo. Young people.
Yes.
Magari tunaendesha. Young people ndio wanaziripia. They are the mechanics.
Yes.
In the farms, they're the ones kulima. Hao ndio wanalima. The farm could be owned by an old person, but the young people are the ones getting in there, and the ones who are using the jembes and the hoes and everything else. So if you do not listen to that group, man, there's a problem.
I know. And internationally as well. Look at how young people are representing and winning at everything sport-wise. Yani Kenyans are out there shining. Yes. Kila siku tu nasikia a Kenyan has won. Even the MMA. Yani tuko hadi nini. We are everywhere.
Yes.
It's young people. And honestly, I am always in awe of the young people in this country.
Yes.
They are amazing. They have so much potential.
Yeah.
It is the government that is wasting away their future. Oh, the future belongs to the tomorrow dream. They're always selling to us.
Yes.
Oh, you're the future, the leaders of tomorrow, blah blah blah, which is a lie. They have destroyed our tomorrow, and our tomorrow should be now.
Yeah.
So
it is
young
now.
people, that are the real deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is now or never.
Yes.
All right. So there was another reaction. Let me see. All right. I guess we're done with Mama Suluhu there. Now, the other thing that happened over the last 1 week, actually it has happened, I think it was on Sunday, when Macron arrived. I almost said arrived. So when Macron arrived,
accept who you are. Don't run away.
My DNA is not even playing around. But yeah, so President Macron of France arrived in the country. He has been having so much fun. I don't know if you saw. Alifika, niko na video hapa hivi, hata isipocheza sauti nitaicheza ndio mimi mwenyewe niangalie. Yeah. So Rais Macron wa Ufaransa aliweza kufika, and he did a lot of things, by the way. He caused a lot of traffic jam in the CBD. I don't know if you've noticed that. Today we have had traffic from here to Timbuktu. Yeah. And that traffic has been crazy. I tried coming to I mean, when I was going home in the morning, the traffic was crazy. And also coming back here in the evening, the traffic was even worse. Kwanza kwa expressway, nilikuwa dhani expressway inafaa kuwa expressway.
Na vitu umelipia pia unapanga line.
Sasa kwanza tumepata sasa nilikuwa nimelipia. Siku kama leo expressway inafaa kuwa bure.
Of course.
Siku kama leo wanatuambia tu expressway ni bure, nyinyi pitieni venye mnataka.
Lakini others wakarushwa kando ndo waheshimiwa pite.
So that's the thing. And then of course we had other presidents as well. We also had a FIFA president in the country. Not FIFA but who were CAF. Huyu wa Africa. Alikuwa in the country, wamekuja kuongelea mambo ya AFCON. Hizo ni stories za baadaye, because FKF ya Kenya iko na shida, sijui chairman na vice chairman ama ni president na deputy president wanapigania kiti. It's just, Kenya is just a mess.
I know. Even the UN Secretary General is around.
Oh yes, they are here to expand their Nairobi office. Yes. Which is a good thing. That means more jobs for people like you and I. Apply UN, you never know. Nasikia huko mshahara ni mingi, unalipo in dollars.
Oh really?
Yes. And your tax is not the same tax as.
Oh okay.
Huko sidhani utakatwa housing levy. And you know the UN also have their own fuel station, eh? Wakona, I think it's a Shell petrol station. Inakonga kule ndani ya Gigiri, inside their office.
They enjoy a lot of things. Hata airport wakona line yao. Hazingine nataka kuingia, but when you see the others overcrowded, they enjoy a lot of privileges.
Yeah. So, the President Macron came. He did a jog this morning with Eliud Kipchoge.
Yes.
World marathon holder, whatever, world champion wa marathon. Bwana ule jamaa walitoka na akakimbia. He had very minimal security. Then walikuanga somewhere along Wayakiwe wakikimbia. I think alikuwa ametokea saidi ya JW Marriott. So they were taking a jog. And Kenyans were in awe. They were wondering, wait a minute. There's a random mzungu here just running around with Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah, sure wengi hawajui ni nani.
Yes, but hata wale wanamjua, they couldn't believe that a foreign president.
No, but I'm sure security wamejificha tu ndani.
Of course, for sure. Kuna hata watu alikuwa anakimbia nao.
Yeah, na anakata security.
Those ones as a French secret service or the Recce squad. There's a Recce squad of France. No, it is not forcing. This is how I speak as a French man. So the guy was running in the streets of Nairobi, and Kenyans were shocked that a president can just humble himself, wear a t-shirt. It was a jersey actually, and jog. Because here in Kenya, you know, our presidents don't do any of that.
Why do you think he is doing that?
Hold on. Let's start with president number 1.
Okay.
President Jomo Kenyatta. Umeimwona hujaimwona of course. President M1 nilikuwa namuita Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi.
Huyo pia sidhani ningeona.
Unadhani ninatafuta kitu hapa nikishikilia kama kiboko yake. Unakumbuka ile fimbo ya Nyayo?
Yeah, I remember his.
Yeah, do you think him and his fimbo can just get on, or rather that time could get on Wayakiwe and do a jog? Of course not.
No.
Kibaki already aliingia pale kwa presidency akiwa amevunjika mguu sababu ya ile accident ya before election, and then after that he sort of and then he was old anyway. And then he had other things to deal with, such as Lucy Kibaki. Unakumbuka wakati alikuja kutombea, this is my only wife and I don't have any other wife.
That was peak political moment in Kenya.
And you remember how the first lady Lucy Kibaki dared us. Ask any questions you have, because I know you people of the media. You will go write your own things.
I actually loved her. I really loved her.
And she was there. Ask. Speak.
I remember her storming into, was it Standard or Nation?
She did Nation.
Yeah, alistorm huko.
And then hapo Nation media ka slap watu huko makofi, watu walikuwa na shangaa guy. Na alafu unajua hiyo ni serikali na kuslap na huwezi fanya ine.
Yeah.
You see, ungekwanga hapo as a media personality, hata angekuita Hanifa, ask. There is only one wife, and I'm the one. But why they felt the need to come out and say that to me is beyond me. But anyway, that's that. So Kibaki couldn't run. President Uhuru could have. Yeah,
okay,
but
Uhuru was.
But after 2-3 years katika serikali pale, ni kama kuna kitu nizo mandazi za State House. Hizo mandazi za State House kuna venye zinakufanya usikimbie. Because President Ruto, you remember that time they were, where were they heading? I can't remember, but they were taking a chopper to somewhere. And he ran to the chopper. You remember? Him and a couple of other people. So President Ruto can run. But lately, I don't know. It's like he has lost that mojo. He has become too presidential. So he's not doing those things. But President Macron alikimbia bwana. So if the president of France says this is a first world country, if he can do that, president wa third world anafaa kwa kitoka mbio. All right. So yeah, that's that about President Macron arriving in the country. Wameongea mambo mingi sana. Kuna maswali mengi ama kuna vitu zingine fanya kadha wa kadha zilifanyika. One of the questions that came up is why Kenya is hosting Africa Forward Summit. Because people were thinking France has former colonies in Africa, you know, countries like Akina French state, Akina Cote d'Ivoire,
we have Burkina
Faso, Niger. So mbona akwenda huko? That was the question the president, our president Ruto was asking. And Ruto akasema it is because Kenya is special. Iko kitu ambayo imeleta banama jamaa huko. Kwa sababu kule Nigeria huko ndio kwao, si Nigeria, kule West Africa ndio kwao. Huko akina Niger, huko akina Cameroon, akina Cote d'Ivoire. Huyo jamaa akalenga watu wote akakuja huko kwa sababu gani?
We are special.
We are
the real question is,
little did you know that we are not special.
So there's a huge debate going on.
Yes.
As to why Kenya has been chosen. First of all, the Sahel regions, Burkina Faso, Chad, and the rest of
Niger,
so Western Central Africa have kicked out the French troops.
Yes.
So they've repositioned themselves nini. So people are asking, kama wametolewa huko, is France using this chance and this summit to reposition themselves in Africa and away from the Francophone bloc in Kenya? And why Kenya? So many people are asking such questions.
Yes.
So we have obviously the ad hominem arguments going on. Sasa mtu anauliza kama una support PSG, why are you trying to cancel France coming to Kenya? You see such arguments pia. So there's a lot of argument going on online.
Yes.
And me kusema kweli, I know there's a lot of things we can say, but I want to say that Kenyans have a flawed sense of justice. Kenyans don't understand what intersectionality means. Hawajui, even with our neighboring countries.
Yes.
Kenyans wanataka tu whatever is happening in this country. Wengine si atu wajui, we don't care. Why are you telling us about Burkina Faso? Why are you telling us about the other African countries? And we need to understand the cross-border solidarity and what it means, what it has meant for years. South Africa could not have fought by themselves. You had other African countries coming in, and it's unfortunately they're forgetting that. So we need each other.
We do. But you know, Kenyans, we and it's a good thing by the way. Wanting to feel and be special is a good thing. Why? Because
But we are not special, by the way.
Actually, Hanifa, we are very special. You know, ni kama tu dem. Kimkatia atakaingi uanze kumwambia juu ya ma-ex wako. So if it's Hanifa hataki kusikia juu ya kina Fatuma au kina Susan. Yeye anataka kujua mimi kama Hanifa what I want to be special. It's not like I do not know you have a past. I don't want to hear about your past. So that's how Kenyans are. France has come. It has brought all these goodies, you know, this cooperation, and now I understand Kenyans will now be going to France, and we are going to have this collaboration that is going to help us even achieve some health sovereignty. We're going to collaborate and start manufacturing drugs here. Na sisi ndio wako na do, sisi ndio tuko na shamba, sawa. Shamba iko hapa, but France ndio iko
na do.
Wale wanakaa na do. So sisi tuko tu hapa hivi tukingoja sema kazi. No, if indeed they are honest about this Africa Forward Summit, that means in manufacturing we are looking to have a lot of jobs for young people. I understand there is collaboration in terms of farming. So that is also opportunities for young people. So we've already said the pharmaceutical, if manufacturing hapo kuna makazi, and then just other kinds of manufacturing kuna makazi hapo.
Yes, and the over 12 billion for commuter rail.
Yes,
Nairobi.
So, yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. If France is honest, of which I hope they are.
Oh, you've reminded me of a quote, by P.L.O. Lumumba, professor. Right. So he is saying, but the question is, does it empower Kenyans or it weakens up? By the time they are done with us, will we be stronger or weaker? Have we defined what we want? Or we are just happy that we are the first English-speaking country to host the France-Africa Summit, and that the 39 heads of state will be present in Kenya? That is a good question. So, adding to what you're saying, is it going to benefit the ordinary Kenyans? We've had so many high-level summits, conferences over the years. We've received money, loans, everything. But how has it actually benefited us? Yes.
And I agree with you, and I agree with Professor Lumumba that indeed, after all is said and done, tafadhali, tusijipate tumejiuza.
Kabisa.
Tusipate France in the benefit kutuliko kwa mfano. Wacha iko kitu mutual, because they have said this is a partnership.
Yes.
They have not said that we are coming to donate. They have not said that we are coming to give a partial let me call it scholarship. They have said they are here 100%. So let's hope that indeed it is that way.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. All right. So tumekuja kujua that we are special, but we are not that special.
Okay.
Kama uko wakina Sahel region.
Sahel, kwani how special are we compared to Sahel regions?
Kama Sahel wangekuwa sawa, ni kumaanisha hii Africa Forward Summit ingefanyika wapi?
Huko.
But I think also
no, but okay.
I think also pia ni njia ya kuonesha our Sahel region kidole cha kati.
Yeah,
zile za we have options.
Aliulizwa journalist asked the France President Macron why the Sahel regions are not here, the summit. Wakasema kuna wengine wamekuja. I think Senegal is attending, and also he spoke of Mali. He's saying there's a coup in Mali and they don't want us to help in fighting terrorism, nini. But if a country is saying, you know, the Saleh regions is their former colonies. So issue yao kubwa ni the French influence is still there. That is why wakasema nini tuacheni sasa, which is fair. It is fair enough. So I don't think we are smarter than them. Hopefully time will tell. So we are hopeful.
But unajua France inafaa ku realize you see even the Brits. See, the Brits came and they colonized places like Kenya. But what niseme wali kind of cut that umbilical cord. Kwa sababu kuna time if they hadn't done that, the influence
would still be here.
Yeah, but we're still in the Commonwealth, which is former British colonies, coming together in brotherhood, solidarity, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but for France, man, wale waswahili alikata kutoka huko Sahel region. Wacha tuseme kweli.
Unaona, and they fought to the nail to get them out. Akasema nyi wasemjipe sasa toka. You know, and that is so admirable. It's not something that should be frowned upon. I really love that for them. It is the start and end of Pan-Africanism. And also, by the way, I forgot to mention, I think a few months ago, I read that the Kenyan Parliament ratified the Defense Pact. The French troops have been granted immunity. So wamepewa immunity in Kenya. And I guess as a reward for that, I think South Africa was invited from the G7 summit that is going to happen in June, I think, or July.
Yeah.
So guess which country imewekwa instead?
Usiniambie ni Kenya.
Of course. So I guess that is as a reward.
Unajua, acha nikwambie. As much as tunaambiangwa na serikali yetu tumepanga, tumeweka mikakati.
Tunapangwa.
Bwana, I hope si mtu mmoja anajipanga na sisi wengine tunapangwa. To be honest, kwa sababu unajua Hanifa, wewe leo tuseme wewe ni president wetu. You can be given like some good 1 billion or God knows how much money that it would take to buy you. And you know, you go live a good life in France, you go live a good life in Miami, you go live a good life in whichever island you choose, Caribbean huko. Lakini wache wa Kenya bana wakiteseka hapa wanaishi na kulala kama mbwa.
Honestly, because it is us at the end of the day, we pay the heavy price.
True.
We are overtaxed.
True.
We are being killed everywhere. Yani ni sisi tu, we are always the ones who suffer.
Yeah. Okay, Uhuru Kenyatta, that is the governor of Murang'a County, quit 2 weekends ago. He said, guys, I'm out, I'm done.
I'm done with you people.
Hapa sasa, the next time mnaniona, sitakuwa wa UDA. And for him, that was just a smart move because his county is no longer in UDA. We were having a conversation here with Jeremiah Kioni. Who is also deputy party leader of Jubilee Party.
Yes.
And he said UDA can't run in you can't sell UDA in the mountain anymore.
The mountain Murima.
Murima. Hiyo kwenda imeenda. Hiyo tusahau.
Tigawa nawe.
Ndio dinyere kigwe. Hiyo imeenda ikwenda. Na akatuambia even President Ruto will not run on a UDA ticket.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Because he was saying if he's serious about the mountain, amesema hiyo imeenda.
Yeah, I think him leaving UDA might signify a crack on his side, the president's side, for his support in Mount Kenya, Murima. It's a big crack. So it makes sense ametoka. And he also mentioned that anapeananga solutions lakini hawamsikizi. So I guess amekuwa frustrated kila sides. And how they came after him immediately, he announced that anatoka UDA. He had the government blockers, everyone coming after him. After him just proves what he was saying, honestly.
But you know, it's a sign of failure.
Yes, it is.
You know, if today you say you quit, you have quit Generation Report, and now you have gone to, let's say, the mid-morning show, I won't start attacking you. I'll honestly look at what happened.
Yes.
Such that Hanifa left. Like, what was so bad on this show? Is it the seat? You know, is it the microphone? Is it how I treated her on the show? But I will not send people to now start attacking you. Hata huko malumenda. Hata huko by the way unajua uko unafanya kazi nzuri.
Kusaidia. Na unakumbuka ile kitu ulikuwa unafanya. Ina.
Ilikuwa inatushukishia mbaya.
Unatuambia nini? No. Also he clearly mentioned that he's still in UDA.
Yeah.
So atatoka after 2027.
Yeah.
So I mentioned he's still in UDA.
Yes, legally he has to be in UDA if he wants to continue being governor of Murang'a.
But they're still going at him. Nini.
Yeah, no, but he said, and let me not lie to you, he's not the only one who's going to be exiting the party. Siye peke yake.
Yes.
Like,
so many things are going to happen.
Oh, you have no idea. Saizi tu kuna watu wana protect majob zao. Hata ma PSs.
They can't come out.
CSs even maybe. Kuna watu tu hapo wameshikilia tu.
Utajua rangi yao sasa next year.
And let me not lie to you. Hata wewe. You can't sit or stay in a sinking ship.
Yes.
You won't. You don't want to sink with that ship.
Totally.
And anyone would be an idiot. Unaona ship in a sink.
Accept yourself.
But nijua sip in a sink.
Yes.
Nijua so utakaa ukiona hii meli inaenda ina sink alafu stick around, hata utakuwa fala. Hata watu wenye unajaribu kuwa loyal kwa watakuangalia kwambie nifata surely.
And their loyalty lies on
watakwambia tu
stability.
You know these guys really call each other and consult wanasema nifa unaonaje watu huko kwenyu wanasemaje. Okay, pia watu huko kwetu so hii kitu ni mbaya.
Yes.
Hii kitu ni kama ifanye kazi, so tufanyaje? Si tutoke?
Yes.
No, kuna mtu anasema mimi sitatoka saa hizi. Wewe kama uko ready kutoka wewe toka, lakini mimi sio nikitoka kazi yangu imeisha.
Yes.
So they just stick around forever. But yeah, that's it. Well, Irungu for me has worked for the people of Murang'a.
Yes.
I've not heard the people of Murang'a complaining. I have not heard them say that apana, this guy has not delivered, this guy. No, I've not heard. So at the very least, even if he were to run as an independent, chances are Irungu would still recapture.
High chances.
Yes, he would still recapture the governorship.
Now, I mean, of how he works. I'm shocked. What do you mean leaders can deliver?
Yeah. Huyo aende DCP aende hata akibakio UD. Okay, well wamesema hiyo UDA ndio hawataki.
I think we normally ataenda but yeah.
Hata akaenda Wiper, akaenda hata
independent.
TP akalembendile. Huko mali ataenda tu haezi kosa kiti.
I don't think the people of Murang'a would see anyone else qualified as much as Kang'ata.
But the people of Murang'a County, the leaders of Murang'a County have got a history of performance, good performance. Yeah, so we wish him all the best.
Yes.
Our next story takes us to Parliament buildings. Karen Nyamu.
My blood is boiling.
Hey, Senator.
My blood is boiling.
Senator Karen Nyamu. Let me tell you, you know me, I look at, before we even get to, why she's trending, why she was trending a couple of days ago, every time I look at this politician, I ask myself, what goes through her mind? Because, and I'd like her to, as in, if we ever meet, I'll ask her, like, it's a genuine question. Sina ubaya na sina bile, I have nothing against this lady. But hata ni swali hata naweza muuliza off microphone. Nimuulize tu Mhesh. Rada. Unashughulikianga wa Kenya? Yes. Kwa sababu, and I could be wrong because I haven't watched every Senate hearing and every, I'll just ask her, like, when you go to Senate, unafikirianga venye utasaidia wa Kenya ama unaendanga tu pale because ulipatiwa hii nomination and you just gotta show up because you gotta show up? Ama unaendanga pale ukisema guys, let's be serious, we need to deliver A, B, C, D for Kenyans, whether it's girls, whether it's children, whichever group that you choose.
Yes.
Hiyo ni kitu naweza kujua na huyo senator.
I mean, I'm speaking as Hanifa and not even radio generation.
Yes.
Karen Nyamu must resign.
Okay.
What happened in Senate last week was not funny at all. I'm shocked. You understand how bad it is because of, you saw how Cherargei reacted when she was talking. Even someone as Cherargei mwenyewe alikuwa shocked. He was wondering who anasema nini. So
Cherargei ndio yardstick ya shock. But continue.
So he was shocked. So you can imagine the kind of rubbish she was saying. This senator was sexualizing a minor in Senate. Do you even understand what that is? At the height of children missing, children being defiled, children being murdered, kila mahali. But mahali wenye wanafaa kumake laws and protect ordinary Kenyans is where they're going to sexualize kids. And she's coming out with the ChatGPT apology. Anawambia, anawasomea, alafu that was not my intention. I loved how alinyamazishwa hapo. Sema no, that's enough. But no, she needs to go, and she needs to go now. She has a history of scandals. Kila siku Karen Nyamu is always trending for the wrong reasons. There's nowhere amewaka ti anafanyia wase kazi sijui ni hakuna. This girl is always trending kila mahali for the wrong reasons. Yani I am shocked that a woman would say something like that about a child. A girl mwenye amekuja. Okay, Edwin Sifuna came out akasema, wamama msimame mkaribishe msichana mdogo kwa Senate, mkaribisheni, and then she came out and said such things. I'm shocked. I even wrote an article for Sunday Nation nikasema, Karen Nyamu must immediately resign. There's no other way, because she's setting a very bad example for the rest.
Politicians make mistakes. We don't fire them, or they don't resign for that matter. They just brush it off. They go to a rally, they say things, some will dance.
They even rewarded.
Some will dance. We were with a dry alas in the morning, akasema others watenda to shake their buttocks. And then suddenly we forget that, something happened, right?
Yes, and someone needs to answer.
But you tell me, would you take your child to a school where teachers talk like that? Of course you wouldn't.
Of course.
Would you go to a doctor to be treated, and the history of this doctor is someone who's nonchalant, who is a don't care, who mtu hata unasikianga saa zingine yeye udunganga watu sindano vibaya. Of course you wouldn't go there. If anything, KMPDC will come and they will fire that guy, watamnyang'anya license yake ya cooperate na atafungwa because amecheza na maisha ya watu. Unaweza panda ndege yenye unaona pilot before take off, unaona ndege anaipeleka venye anataka, si mtashuka hiyo ndege hata ikiwa tu kwa runway. Why are we allowing politicians to behave this way?
Also, I think it sets a bad example for women in leadership generally. They should, trying to... Women or youths are categorized as marginalized. So the 2/3 gender role thing, with things that people have fought so hard for. They're using this position in such a bad way. Hata wase wanaanza kusema tutoe position ya women rep. No, the problem are not the seats. They are there to equalize and to protect women as the marginalized group. But how they have failed. The women leaders in Kenya have failed us. They have failed the youths and everyone. So they are setting a very bad example for that. It is not good. It is not fair.
I saw sorry. I saw a minister in France, not France, but the UK.
Yes.
Resigning because he came to parliament late to answer questions.
Imagine.
He was a sitting MP because then they still appoint ministers from the parliament. But he came late. Kuliwanele question answer session ya minister. I can't remember his exact ministry. Inanyongwa nini na ninyongwa.
But huku Kenya hata polisi wanatafuta watu they answer question to the Senate.
Sasa udema alikuja akasema excuse me my lords, I'm very sorry I came late, and for that reason I hereby step down as the minister, let's even say minister for agriculture, and I tender my resignation effective immediately. Na akatoka na akasema na watu wakamklapia hapo because look, the next person who's going to take that position
will know better,
will be on time na atafanya kazi yake vizuri. That is the only way we can ensure quality.
Yes.
In our politics and in our governance. Another one resigned because ka video kalitokezea akifanya some naughty stuff with the secretary.
Yes.
In the office. Now he was not he didn't resign because he was caught with the secretary. No. He resigned because he was caught doing it in the office. This is a public space.
Yes.
Hii ni mahali Kenyans, Britons wamelipa tax. na wana expect hiyo ofisi uitumie na dignity
and to serve the people.
And to serve the people. Hiyo ni place wananchi wanakuja ku receive services na wana expect ukiwa hapo you are not doing your own mambo jambo. You are actually doing what they are paying you to do. If you want to fool around with your secretary, please, mahoteli ni nyingi huko London. Enda utafute moja mfanye kenye mtaka kufanya.
Yes.
Lakini kwa ofisi ya umma, my friend, you don't do that.
Yes.
Here in Kenya and Africa as a whole anyway, ministers, PSAs, whatever, they misbehave, they do whatever they want to do, but they're still in office eating our money.
Of course, any politician resigning in Africa is unheard of. Hata tunaweza shtuka.
Tukipata mmoja huyo tunafaa kumstudy.
I know, case study.
Huyo tunamfanyia study ndo tujue huyu ni mtu aina gani, ana nidhamu.
Huyu ni nani?
Huyu ni mtu ambaye akona
ama anatuprank.
All right, so in the next hour, we are going to be hosting our first guest. I know you're wondering who it is. Don't go too far. We will be right back.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good evening, I am Dahira Ahmed. Kenya hosted the Africa-France Summit in Nairobi, bringing together President William Ruto, French President Emmanuel Macron, and more than 20 African heads of state at the University of Nairobi. The high-level meeting highlights Nairobi's growing role as a diplomatic and economic hub for Africa and its international partners. The summit focused on strengthening cooperation towards investment-led growth with key discussions on energy, infrastructure, transport, and technology. Leaders were also expected to explore Africa's role in the digital economy and strategies to enhance sustainable development across the continent. The summit officially began today and will run until tomorrow.
And I'm going to ask Kate why she chose Kenya. I would really want to know why, out of all the other countries, why she. There must be something in Kenya that gave I'm talking about. So making sure that some of the best companies across the world come to participate with us. Last year, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, set up office in Kenya. We have many BPO companies set up in Kenya. Why? Because we have young people with the right skills, we have the right infrastructure in terms of internet connectivity, and we have a very enterprising and entrepreneurial population. So in my opinion, this is the space in which we are operating, and I think every other country should be able to think in that direction, because the future is about technology, the future is digital, and AI is going to be at the center of it.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres have praised the United Nations, saying it remains fit for purpose despite changing global challenges. The two leaders also welcomed plans to expand the UN headquarters in Gigiri, saying the new facilities will strengthen the organization's ability to respond to global needs and advance its international mandate.
Particularly important at a time when multilateralism is under considerable strain from geopolitical fragmentation, growing mistrust, fiscal pressures, and widening global inequalities. In this context, the United Nations office at Nairobi stands as a powerful expression of inclusivity, geographical balance, and the universality of the UN system.
From its beginning in the 70s as the home of UNEP and UN Habitat, this campus, generously donated by the government of Kenya, has grown into a dynamic hub of multilateral action. Nairobi is a place where global challenges meet regional solutions, where innovation is born, and where the future of multilateralism is being shaped every day. This is a powerful demonstration of what United Nations can achieve when we are focused, efficient, and united in purpose.
Elsewhere, a 3-day rescue operation to search for miners trapped after the Ogago mine collapse in Bondo has ended after the bodies of 3 miners were recovered. The incident has left families and relatives in deep grief, with special prayers held in memory of the deceased. Reports indicate that the final bodies recovered included 2 brothers, deepening the sorrow among affected families. The families have described the victims as hard-working individuals and are now appealing for government and humanitarian support to help with funeral costs, while the cause of the collapse remains unknown.
Tunaomba tu serikali atusaidie kwa ile inawezekana. Tuko bure nyumbani, hakuna kila kitu yenye tuko nayo. Hatuna nyumba yenye brother yangu mdogo ako nayo ni kidogo. Huwezi tusaidia na wageni. Tunaomba tu msaada kwa wingi.
Otieno aliniacha na watoto 3. Hata hawakulipa school fees. Niko hivi, serikali nisaidie nipate vile hata wageni wakikuja kwangu wanaweza pata chakula. Nyumba pia sina. Serikali wa kaunti na serikali ya juu mtusaidie, na wale wenye Mungu amewaingia kwa moyo wao, wenye Mungu imeingia kwa moyo wao, ili watusaidie.
Watengeneze simu, wajenge simu. Wakati wanaenda ndani wajenge, na serikali inafaa ingilie maneno. Waangalie vile wale wanachimba simu wako na ujuzi zaidi ya kuangalia maisha ya binadamu.
Preparations for the upcoming by-elections have reached the final stage following the arrival of ballot boxes in the country. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission received 3 consignments of election materials at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The ballot papers arrived alongside official election forms. The materials will be used in the by-election for Member of Parliament in Emurua Dikir constituency, Narok County, as well as ward elections in Poro Ward, Samburu Ward and Endo Ward in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
The ballot papers have arrived. We have 3 pallets of them at the moment, which at this point in time we are taking to the national warehouse for subsequent dispatch to the electoral areas. That is tomorrow. The preparation is ready. The logistics is done, and by tomorrow, by this morning, by around 8-9 in the morning, we shall be dispatching them to the various electoral areas for the election. Dispatch and the breaking of bulk will be done on Wednesday, so that each and every polling station by Wednesday evening they shall be getting their ballot papers.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Have a lovely night. I am Dahira Ahmed.
This is Radio Generation. Radio Generation Classifieds.
Stay close. Just ahead, the king of the savannah. To your left, zebras grazing. Listen, the wild is speaking. This is not a classroom lesson. This is one you experience. With the Wild Scholars Program by the Kenya Wildlife Service, students explore Kenya's wild classrooms for less. Premium parks like Amboseli and Lake Nakuru National Parks now just 500 shillings from 750. Urban and wilderness parks like Nairobi, Savo East and Savo West National Park, 400 shillings from 500. And for school trips, special bus rates up to 45 seats and above 45 seats, 3,000 shillings. Plus free entry for children under 6 years and free entry for up to 3 teachers in all KWS parks, because great lessons are lived. Wild Scholars. Experience, explore, understand.
Radio Generation Classifieds. This is Radio Generation. This week, power was tested in the corridors of leadership, economies shook under pressure, and the voices of ordinary citizens demanded to be heard. From breaking decisions in high office to protests in the streets, from moments of triumph to tragedies that stopped us in our tracks, these are the headlines that shaped our week. And beyond the noise, we search for what really matters: the connections, the context, the stories behind the stories. And this is your weekly news roundup on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
Yes, indeed, every moment counts and every moment has got a heartbeat. My name is Mungala Mbuvi. This is the Generation Report. A very good evening to you. In studio, we do have Hanifa Adan, and we have our guest for this hour, Pigbin Odimwengu. He's a former presidential aspirant, but he's still a presidential aspirant. Nimetoka kumuuliza saizi of the Progress Pan-African Party. Odimwengu, a very good morning to you and welcome to
good
radio.
Evening.
Good evening. Hey. Si hata unajua tunakuanga hapa asubuhi na wewe. Si unaona hizo mashida niko nazo. Hey. Let me ask you to use this microphone. Technician atakuja kutengeneza hiyo. Haya, karibu sana kwenye studio. Once again, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mbuvi, and good evening,
Hanifa.
Hanifa.
Is that your real name?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's a unique name.
What? Pigbin?
His name, Pigbin Olimwengu.
No, it is Pigeon Odimwengu.
Oh,
Pigeon
Odimwengu.
Oh, it's not
So hii ni ya kazi gani?
Pigbin.
The same way Wednesday.
Tunasikianga watu wakisema Wednesday.
It's Wednesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
You say let's meet on Wednesday.
Na si tumezoea tu Wednesday usitulete.
Haya. Pigeon, karibu tena sana.
Nashukuru sana.
Let me just start by asking how your weekend was. I hope everything is fine. And you have been okay since the last time we met, or has anything changed?
No, every day we try to make some progress.
Right.
You see, the country is moving and we also have to make some steps moving forward. But we are doing our best to be here and to be there anytime we are needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Nashukuru.
Naona hujapatikana kule jamii kwa hapa Nairobi. Have you seen how the traffic is heavy in Nairobi?
Yeah, I was.
We are hosting some 40-something dignitaries and then a few other thousands of very important people, VIPs if I may call them. Presidents wenye wako hapa, barabara zimefungwa, si Thika Road, si Ngong Road, si Mombasa Road, hata expressway leo ilikuwa imefungwa for some intermittent periods of time because of the very many VIPs that were just crisscrossing this country of ours.
Now, it's very interesting that one president from Europe then brings together over 30-something so-called president in Africa. It's a waste of time, waste of resources, and it's not proper for the continent. Because I have not heard of Kenya-Europe summit, where the presidents of Europe will sit together to meet President Ruto. But we hear France-Africa summit, China-Africa summit. So it's very important that these people must realize that even the outside world, the Europe and China, the rest, don't see them effective as individuals. And they must come together as school children so that they could be addressed from one podium, you see. And that makes it very ineffective for us as a continent to continue sustaining these so-called 50-something heads of states who are then paraded like children when the foreign heads of state come together. And then they waste our time with too much of traffic jam all over, up and down. It's not making sense.
You know, I would want to agree with you, but let me also bring in a different perspective. It's not necessarily disagreeing, but if you were to have President Trump here, and then you have President Xi Jinping of China here, then you have the Prime Minister of Japan here, and then to let's throw in President Macron, and then we throw in the UK Prime Minister, for example. Bro, the headache you will have here in terms of security alone. Just any security, forget even at just security. Number 2, where these guys are going to stay. Number 3, our roads are not even enough. We do not, nikisema enough simanishi in terms of the kilometers, I mean hata upana wa barabara. Hii barabara yetu tunaonanga hapa ya Mombasa Road yenye tunaipenda sana, hiyo barabara ile siku hao watu wote wanakuja hapa, these roads of us cannot handle their motorcades alone. So as much as I agree with you the fact that sometimes African presidents can be bundled in one, there's even a time whose body were they attending and then they were put in one school bus.
Is it a queen or whatever?
It was the queen. Thank you for reminding me. It was the queen of...
That is how they treat the people they serve back home.
Yes.
So walipewa dabu yao wakienda kwa karushwa kwa basi moja, like how they deserve. I loved it.
However,
because they inconvenience us here.
Yeah.
And then trying to find special treatment outside. Wakarushwa kwa basi kama watoto I loved it.
And then security yetu hapa hivi pia bwana hizi handle us wote.
Yes.
What it would take for you to coordinate security ya mtu kama President Trump, security ya mtu kama Keir Starmer wa UK, security na ya mtu kama Macron wa France, my friend, it will just be a nightmare for nothing. Yeah. So as much as I would want to see one day us hosting them, and that day will come, but I've seen world leaders going to a place like was it the barrio of, there's a Pope was buried, I don't know if it's John Paul II or Pope Francis or one of the other very many popes. It could have been Pope Benedict as well. I saw heads of state from kings, even King wa Saudi, if I'm not wrong, alienda mpaka mazishi ya Pope. That time it was President Obama, alienda mazishi ya Pope. President wa France na mapresident wa huko hizo makantri kubwa zenye tunasemanga ni kubwa walienda huko. So it's possible to actually have them in one place, but in Africa itakuwa tricky.
Basically what I was talking about is that if we could have one president for the African continent, for example, we could not be having all these 34 whatever starving us up and down here with the jam. So basically it will be one president meeting another one president. But when you see we have all these 34 running up and down, and I will tell you, I think we have all agreed that sometimes even they don't see it worth enough to meet one president, because then our countries are not even any valuable to their attention. Of course Macron cannot maybe come for a summit to meet Kenya summit alone, because Kenya is not even valuable to what they think. So what we have to realize is that as much as we want to retain our so-called presidencies, so many titles we have, the global community do not see us any effective as at an individual state.
But do you know Macron was here in 2018?
Yeah, that was a visitation.
Yeah. So there are times when the president can just come to one country, but also they capitalize when they come to Africa. They visit several countries. So unaweza pata anakuja Kenya, akitoka Kenya apitie Tanzania, Uganda, alafu maybe ateremke Mozambique, akiingia South Africa, alafu maybe amalizie Angola, ndio sasa arudi huko kwao nyumbani, depending on what he was hoping to achieve in his Africa tour, like they call it.
But what I'm trying to talk about is in terms of inconvenience and ineffectiveness of so-called 54 states or 55 of them.
Yeah.
Because basically, if we could have one powerful president of Africa, then even China could listen to that one president going and sitting down with or US or Macron or anybody else.
Instead of the summit.
Instead of the whole 57. You see, it's very ineffective for 57 states in so-called 54 or 55 states in Africa trying to say that they have an interest they're pushing. Basically, we are the same people across. Is maybe the colors might be different a bit in terms of skin tone, but we are the same people, you see. And you realize even our economy is almost close to this. Either agriculture, minerals.
But, so
what you are having is exploitation. Like you see now, Kenya is trying to sign their own deals. The only president will want their own share of their own deal in the same summit. So at the end of the day, who is having more advantage? Is France will sign deals with over 30-something presidents, while Kenya will only have those 17 deals. China will come out of this summit with over France will come out of this summit with over 300 deals. That's very valuable to them. But us will be getting 11 or 10 or 5 deals, you see. So there's a way we need to start shifting this, of course. I think it's been a long time we've been retaining those 50, whatever we call them. But I think we need to start thinking whether it's necessary. And I think that's why there was a need for AU. I realized that they were admitting AU in UN Security Council as an AU rather than states. And that's where we need to go. Africa need to be treated from one approach. If you have to approach France or whatever we are approaching, even if you have so-called states, but let's go under one umbrella. So let's AU represent us in that way. That will be easier for us even to negotiate. Rather than calling Swaziland to go negotiate with France. What will Swaziland get out of France? Eswatini. Basically, France will benefit more than what Eswatini can benefit from France. So those are a few things that we are still having in the continent. We still need to retain them, but I think the even agenda AU, Agenda 2063, looks forward maybe when we can do away with all the states. And I think the EAC also is trying to run away on how can we have at least one state. Rather than
and maybe Kenya is a bad example, but let me just use it anyway. If we cannot even agree on how we shall treat our own tribes, we do not agree. Unaona kwa Council of Governors hatu wanakuanga tuna shida zao, and those are the small presidents that we have within this country of ours, Kenya. If that is an issue of just how even to share resources, accountability issues, you know, we might, and let me just take an example. This is not necessarily a perfect one, but let's assume Tanzania is more accountable than Kenya. Let's assume. Yeah? I'm not saying they are, but let's, for the sake of this argument, let's assume Tanzania is a more credible partner to deal with. Now, when we are all of us as this African state, how are we going to negotiate and then the people of Tanzania feel okay? I think we are making a very good deal for our continent, lakini wakiangalia ndugu zao wa Kenya hapa, bana wa Kenya tabia zao kidogo ziko ish.
You know, that's also the where we get wrong in terms of how we approach the unification of Africa. Because if you really want to unite Africa, we need to unite Africa on the basis of the so-called neo-colonial states.
Yeah.
Because Tanzania never existed. There's no tribe called Tanzania. There's no tribe called Kenya or the nationality.
So according to you, we delete those borders completely.
Yeah, basically, we cannot define as that you're uniting on the same borders that were imposed on us. There's nothing you're running away from, you see. If we really have to unite the continent of Africa, we'd rather even go to the nations. I know we are so many. What they call nations in Europe, they call in Africa tribes. Basically, they're nations. If you go to German, as much as they're speaking one language, they are German nation. They are French nation. But in Africa, how many nations do you have? We have the Kikuyu nation, the Luo nations. If you calculate all of them, there are around 3,400 to 3,500 in the entire continent. Those are nations. You see? But then the states we are having today, states found in nations existing.
Yes.
States were for conveniency of colonialism and those, their masters, who created them. And if you are running away to unite, you cannot unite in the same line of states. That's why it's very important. What some of us are pushing is the United Nations of Africa. So unite the nations of Africa. Don't unite the colonial borders of Africa. Because then the colonial borders, for example, Tanzania will be representing Luos in Tanzania, and still Kenya also have Luos that are being represented. So basically what are you trying to say? You're multiplying the same representation. But if there's a Luo community, there's a Luo nation. There's a Kikuyu nation. There's whatever nations we have. If you approach it in that way, then you know that the power for negotiation is actually upon the nations, rather than upon the neo-colonial states. Because as you're saying, Kenyans, we cannot agree. Because even when you call a boundary Kenya, is a boundary of so many other people are in the other side. Look, for example, when you're talking about the border of Somali. There are Somali brothers in the other side, they're here. So when you're talking of Kenya, and they are also in the other side, you're telling them they're not Kenyans, what are you trying to tell them? There were Somalis before Kenya came.
I want to...
Mimi ndo wanambianga nirudi Somalia, ebu ambia wapi.
So the question is... the question is... the Somali community existed before the so-called Kenya came. So when you tell Somalis to go back to Somali, just tell Kenya to go back where it came from. Because Kenya found Somalis here. Kenya found, either you call them Kikuyus here. And you cannot tell them they're not Kenyans. Yes. They are not Kenyans because the creation Kenya is not original from them. But they are Somalis.
Help me understand this. Then help me understand the politics of a united Africa. Because at one point we will need a leader. Okay?
It's true.
We will need whatever we want to call him, president, prime minister, whatever we decide to call this person, no? Yeah? How are we going to choose? Umesema tuko how many nations?
3,500 or 3,400.
Okay, so let's even go with 3,000.
Yes.
How do we decide
now
the nation?
To add on the question, like what is the state of Pan-Africanism currently, considering what is going on in South Africa, where they're coming at other Africans, and Malema standing firmly and telling them, stop attacking your African brothers, and quoting what he said, and entertaining the white people in South Africa. So what exactly is the state of Pan-Africanism, and can you say that dream of uniting the nation is possible?
I think going back to what you're saying, then I'll come to our question. We are having wards, 1,450 wards
here in Kenya, yes,
and we still vote one president. How is it possible?
It is
now. Let's use that, because what we are using as the lowest level of administration, but then over 1,450, then vote one president. If you are to go voting in terms of nations, because you see, a leader must represent their nation. When you talk about any geographical locality, it is this is a leader for maybe, let's say for example Garissa, the majority of people are there are Somalis. So that leader represents a nation, just that the nation has been partitioned into a territory. So when you call Garissa County, Garissa did not exist before the Somalis were there. It came in as a name. You see? So at the end of the day, it's still very possible that leaders and nations will vote to have leaders. Those 3,000 can vote. For example, do you know how many constituents you have in the entire continent? If you talk of leadership alone, the 3,500 nations cannot vote to agree on a leader, but we have over The last time I checked, it was over 12,000 members of parliament in the entire continent. Over 12,000 members of continent. Local assembly, we have over 100 and something thousands representing the same Africa. But if you are to have nations, it will only be one leader representing a nation to the entire continent. So, for example, whether you treat that nation as a constituency, because of course a constituency must be for people. So when you treat that nation as a constituency, that will be Somali constituency, Luo constituency. If you bring that together in the entire continent, you'll be having 3,500 MPs rather than 12,000 MPs. And these MPs draw their mandate directly from the people they represent as a nation. It's very easier for that level for nations to agree on what they want. But when you now bring people together, the problem you're having now in counties, for example, look, for example, a county like, maybe you go to a county like Embu. You have the Embu people, you have the Mbeere people, you have the Runyanges people. Then what is going on in the counties is still the tyranny of numbers. Because then the community that with the majority in that county will always be governor or want to be senator. You see? But if you have that nation represented directly, then there will not be issues of community inside. Because you see, we have there are 43 or 44 communities you have here. Whether you call them tribes, there are 44. We have 47 counties. But there are counties that have to look, for example, Migori. There are Kurians and there are Luos. When do you think in Migori a governor will be a Kuria? If the voting will be in terms of the tyranny of the entire constituency. So that's a big problem. So it's even very easier to treat and look at Africa as nations and have representatives directly from the nations rather than those nations.
I feel like in Africa, as you continue explaining, I think in Africa is very unique. We're not even like Latin America, for example. You see, Latin America, it's either you guys are speaking Spanish or you're speaking Portuguese, and maybe ile shenyoko kwa sijini tangwa nini. So you find that then they're united by one language, one tribe. If you go to America, as much as immigrants brought in all these other languages, you'll find that it's one general country where they speak one language, and the official language there is English. Of course, they'll have a few places where they insist you have to do translations in French, you have to do translations in maybe Spanish because of the populations that are there. And then, of course, there's the Native Americans, right? Then when you go to a place like Europe, Germans ni Germans too. Kuna countries zingine unapata, yes, like Belgium, you'll find there's a part that is speaking French, another one is speaking Dutch. But you'll find they only have those two tribes, if I may call them, or those two nations, if I may call them, right? And one last example, a place like, I think it's the Netherlands, where they also have one side speaking German and another one speaking Dutch, but as it ends, idea 3 tribes, ikienda sana 4, because of maybe intermarriages, and then one tribe just emerges from somewhere. So it is easier in places like Europe to just say that we are one people. But in Africa, unapata Kenya tuko 44 tribes. Tanzania, I think they are like 140. Nigeria, there are God knows how many. You tell me.
No, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, even in so many communities you are having today,
yes,
still in the parliament they do not speak Somali or Luo. They speak one English or one Swahili, which is not any original tribe. So the communication of all these makabila tuko nazo, they'll still be speaking and pass policies in parliament, but with not Ujaluo or with not Uluya. So it's very easy to find a unifying language. But the most important thing is that a representative of Somali community will speak to their people in the language they know, and they will understand that they are representing. So it will not be very hard for this leader to represent a community. When they come at a continental space, they will look for a language they can communicate with. Because, for example, even in our parliaments, as I'm saying, we are not communicating our mother tongue. Now, so that's the issue. But you see, when you talk about the South African issue that I wanted to talk about, it's still the problem of this new.
Are you saying that in the county assemblies they don't communicate in the local languages?
It's very hard.
Like in Kitui County, they don't transact business in the county assembly in Kikamba.
Does that really happen? That
I don't know.
Are in Kikamba? I don't think. But I think it's the right way. You see, I will advocate for that. I will advocate that where there's one community in a county, speak their language. Because policies are passed for who? The community.
Yes.
So why should you speak English and Swahili, and Mama Fulani come in the village want to follow the proceedings, and they can't be able to understand what you're speaking? So when you have such, to be very easy. So if we go nations, and maybe, for example, the Luo has a Luo council or a Luo assembly, where their leader, their representative in continental level come to speak to them, they will speak Luo, and they'll easily understand what's going on. But that is what I'm talking about. But when you look at the South Africa's case, it's the same problem of the failure of neo-colonial states. South African case is very simple. Those people are one community, basically. Whether they're in Botswana, they're in Zimbabwe, they're in Lesotho. And Lesotho is like an entire country inside a country. what's that really? So then when you tell, leave alone telling somebody from Nigeria a foreigner, somebody in Lesotho is a foreigner in South Africa because of our territory. But these people are Basotho people.
Yeah.
They belong in one entire community. So if you could treat them like that, we could not be having these apartheid issues in South Africa. Then nobody will be then a foreigner.
Yeah.
But again, you see, even if you go in our nationhood thinking, even a Kikuyu could go to Kwambani and borrow something. Either they were doing exchange for their trade, and nobody will say that a Kikuyu is in Ukambani borrowing something or trading in something is a foreigner.
You see the way we do it in counties here in Kenya, whereby Hanifa can go to Machakos and start a business, and she will pay the same taxes without necessarily having to pay different taxes just because she's in Machakos County. She might pay because Machakos County government has got maybe a different way of doing things, different bylaws, but she's still governed by the laws of Kenya. I would rather we start with, first of all, abolishing the boundaries for us. Like, let them still be there, fine. Let Kenya be Kenya, then Tanzania, Uganda be Uganda. But mimi kama Mungala Mbuvi nikitaka kuingia Uganda, I don't even need a passport. I do not need a visa. I just need to walk in there.
That's very simple. If you as Mungala Mbuvi wanted to visit somebody in Somalia,
yes,
a Somali community in Garissa, would they ask you for a visa? But when you become a Garissa County, the extra things will be asked. But when you walk straight to another community across, there will not be these things of who you are. You're just visiting your brothers and sisters in Somalia, there in Tanzania. Same family.
And if has been to Somalia, will it show visa?
They should ask for visa.
Well, in Somalia.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you travel to Somalia, you needed a visa.
Yes.
To see your aunt, who is the same community. So you see, I'm thinking that this creation of countries are actually problematic. We are trying to sustain them, but you're not sure if they really serve our interests. Because, for example, as somebody, Akisi in Akisi, what has that called Kenya done to your community to change your life as a community? To be absolutely zero. You see? And the problem now, we are devolving them with the counties. Now the tyranny of numbers is moving down to the counties. Now where the community with the numbers or the clan with the numbers will always control. But I think we can solve that and even reduce what Africa spend in terms of even 54 head of states, reduce them to 12,000 members of parliament to 3,000. Those over 100,000, whatever, can be reduced. And at the end of the day, the purpose of a living is to serve a community. So if you represent a community and you can have an avenue to talk to your community, it's very easy to represent their view. But today, for example, our president represents Kenyans. But when he goes everywhere else, he does his own deals. And you ask Kenyans are like, nani alifanya hiyo? Now these 11 whatever ratifications of MOU now being signed today, you even don't know where they came from, basically. There was no public participation to tell people that France is coming. Now we are preparing these policies. Put in your input. We see that when we sign, we are signing the interests of Kenyans with France. But here is what Ruto want, man. It's administration with France. So there's nobody, there's no any citizens actually represented there. He's president thinking that now I have absolute power to represent my people, and what I think or what I like is what they like. So let me sign it.
No, okay. Speaking of Pan-Africanism, I have a question for you as a Pan-African. President Emmanuel Macron said, I quote, "We are the true Pan-Africanists. We believe that Africa is a continent and that this continent has an enormous amount to build. It is the youngest in the world and therefore has an extraordinary demographic dividend. It is the one with the greatest growth in the world." Do you agree with him? That he is the true Pan-Africanist.
That one will ask people from former French colonies if they could call Macron a true Pan-Africanist or if they could call France a true Pan-Africanist. And the reality of the matter is that they don't have interest for Africa. What they have is their interest in Africa. Not that they have interest for Africa. For you to be a true Pan-African is that you must put Africa interest first. The data of us being the youngest continent, that's what they know. And that's why they're here. But they don't have any interest of Africa at heart. They have their interest in Africa. And that's what all their foreign policy is all about. Push forward your interest. So when they come, they say they are Pan-Africans. In fact, I was laughing at that story. And I shared that story across some of my Pan-African platforms, either in South Africa, West Africa, diaspora. And people are like, do this person really know what he's talking about? Can people really be proud that Macron, and you know the history of France, in terms of their former colonies. In fact, it's the brutal colonizer brutal in terms of even the policies of economics, how they were doing the whole part of West Africa, how they handled them, their minerals, how even they pay back. Therefore, Macron coming here to say that he's a true Pan-Africa is just actually telling Ruto that you see, this is just an abuse on your face. Because you can't come to claim that in the continent of Africa. And in fact, Ruto hosting France, and I'm saying it is not Africa Forward Summit.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that. What does it mean for Kenya to host the summit, considering that French, or rather the France influence has been disposed in the Sahel regions?
Now, Kenya is appearing to be a true puppet. Because there's no way somebody kills your neighbor and you can host them in your house. And you give them space to contain them. What does that prove? At the end of the day, you walk back to France. But what is the relationship between you and your neighbor when he walks away? That's the problem we are trying to kill. You see, there's no way somebody exploit West Africa, then you host them in East Africa. Then when they go back, your neighbor is no longer your neighbor, he's your enemy now. But because you know this person has some pocket of money, if France has any money that can change Kenya, they could start by changing West Africa. If they have any good intention, they've been there for over 60 years. If they have not transformed anything tangible to the life of people in West Africa, why do they want to lie to us that they are going to transform?
Let me ask, you know, when you and I like that analogy umetumia ya neighbor amekuja amechoma huko mali amechoma then anataka kuja hapa hivi, and yes, questions should be asked. When you were there, what did you do? Yeah, it's just like a CV. When someone wants to get a job, you ask them, okay, where have you worked before? Let us see what you've delivered. Well, we can trust you with delivering for us, right? But when it comes to now, let's think about this thing. Do I say logically or in an intricate manner? France has come. Them they have their own interest. Hiyo na hata tusijidanganye. Hiyo ni given 150%. But isn't it also our responsibility through our leadership to ensure that we get the best deal out of it? They come, they sit, they look at the whatever contract it is that we have, and they say no, get rid of number 1, get rid of number 17, and also number 77 delete. Isn't that the responsibility of our leadership?
But do you it is actually, you know, when you engage somebody, you must also put your interest first.
Yeah. So for France, then they're putting them first. But even if they sugarcoat it.
But do you think, and that's what I'm not calling us poor, but do you think a poor person, when visited by a rich person, can have any power to demand what they want?
Beggars can be choosers. Do
you think you can? In a table whereby somebody is coming with almost 400 billion in worth investment, then you want to tell them, no, I also want like this, so put this away, bring this here so that I get this. You know, we are like already beggars. So we are moving to a space where we are begging for something. Not even that we are calling for equal partnership. In fact, what they are saying that is an equal partnership, there can never be equality between two people of different classes. There cannot be equality. So at the end of the day, we will only have to sign in. Look, for example, the deal that court just stopped, the deal for US medical deal. Look at it, how it was structured.
And I think Ghana, the president of Ghana refused.
Yeah, but funny thing that actually surprised us, Burkina Faso signed that deal. It's a big problem we are having in the Pan-African space. How did Burkina Faso, which appears to be revolutionary, for the first time take a deal of medical deal from US, while many African countries are refusing that deal? So what I'm saying, that we are not in a position, as much as we can get something, we are not in a position to actually benefit maximally from any position we are having. Because we are just beggars. And anything we get, even if you get that 200 billion, do you know that 200 billion, even out of this deal, how much is that in France? It's very little. It's very, so they are giving you like a percent, but you're giving them access to a lot that they want. That is the biggest problem we have. So any leader, and I think African leaders are not in a position to actually put the best interest of their country first, because they are always moving to a table as beggars. Unless they move as a united Africa, then they can bargain on the resources they have. Now you need them. But in this case, Kenya now need France more than France need Kenya. Literally.
So
but in reality,
to
France need Kenya more than Kenya needs it. Because the resources they're going to unlock here, there are so many things they're going to take from this place, and they'll benefit them. And that's why you see the colonizers came as missionaries. They're having their Bibles or anything else, and then they preach for you the good gospel, your brothers and sisters. Then you tell them, okay, there's a space here, kindly sleep, because we are good people as Africans. Well, we are very welcoming. You can just go. Then they leave the place, they know where the building is, the kitchen is where, and then they come back with guns. And you're like, hey, So you are my friend that hosted you the other day here. And because I think we are still friends, I'll tell you, okay, just take what you want, you're a friend. Then they go with everything else. That's where we have been. And now we are actually putting a red carpet for a new colonialism. A red carpet, just a wide red carpet, come in. But what is going to cost us in the next 20 or 30 years is unimaginable. Even when you talk of the China deal, leave alone even the East. Look at even the East. When you talk of good China deals, how they are coming in, we are building for you roads, blah, 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 blah. For what? They are exchanging this agreement that they also have an interest in. They cannot just give their road that free. They have an interest.
But of course, they're giving us loans and we are paying an interest on those loans.
But you saw the other day, I think it was Mara saying that loan interest in China is 3%, but in here is different. So at the end of the day, I think Sankara addressed this in 1983 when he was talking about debt in OAU. And in fact, 3 years later, he was killed, assassinated. And he asked the leaders before he stopped his speech that if we don't unite from here, and have a united front against debt, I will not attend the next conference. And they actually didn't attend. Because what he was raising is that we hear about Paris Club and those so many clubs where we go ask loan for. Why don't you have Addis Ababa Club? Well, all these so-called billionaires and Dangote can put their money there. So then let's go borrow from there. Rather than going for the Paris Club and so many other clubs out there. Africa still have people who can put their resources. Safaricom can still put some resources there and ask countries to borrow from there, develop your country and bring it back, you see. But we are not thinking in this direction. Because we need to start thinking on how do we liberate ourselves in terms of economics and debt. And debt issues, currency issues, at least some of us, we have managed to move away from currencies a bit. But you see what France was doing in West Africa is to steal their currency, pure their currency. We're walking away from currency. Debt is another trap here. But if we could borrow internally, if a community has some few billionaires and some few poor people, why don't the billionaires put a pool together for that money?
I think Dangote is waiting for a go-ahead from Ruto to build the refinery.
Yes.
But let me ask you, how did someone like Dangote make his money?
No, it's very interesting. I've listened to some of people from Nigeria because we interact a lot. He actually got support from the government. And he had the goodwill.
The Nigerian government.
Yeah. Apart from the little money he had and the family privilege, because he also had some good power privilege.
Generational wealth.
Yeah. Somehow, but the government gave him a lot. And you see, ask people like maybe Wanjigis and ask people, billionaires here we know, Chandaria, you realize the government play a lot of role for them to be where they are. This is how government favors them. Somebody can't tell you that they just moved in like that. How they cut deals with government here and there so that they survive. But funny thing, I was getting some statistic that even the price for that cement in Nigeria is expensive than what they spend.
Yes, I saw it,
And is Dangote producing the same cement in his country, but the cement in his country is expensive than outside his country.
So is this someone we can depend on when it comes to locally sourcing support?
Capitalist, and I'll go to that. Capitalist interest is profit. And profit sometimes demands exploitation for you to make the profit. And therefore, the nature of what you have, as much as will benefit a bit from capitalism, because then the so-called Dangote may will build for you a small school somewhere. Maybe you have a small road somewhere, an hospital somewhere. That's something I give back to the community. But this is less than what they take. So they will just share a bit by saying we are good people, you see, we are charitable people, we are building for you schools here and roads here. But the key intention is that they exploit at any expense so that they can make their profit. With them, your welfare doesn't matter. It's profit. And that is the problem we are having even in capitalism today in Africa. Because if you have people like Akina Dangote, then probably Nigeria could not be that poor if he has all those billions of money. It could help the country. Because actually this money that he's having is from Nigerians people. So why don't you return it back somehow and help the community? Then you tell us in Kenya, now I'm interested to come here. There's a businessman with a strategic business focus. And you're dealing with a government that should not also be business oriented. Government should be about the welfare of the people. How do you put your people's interests first? But our presidents and our leaders in parliament are also business oriented. So we can't deal. I'll give you a space in Tanzania, get me 20% directly, not to the government, directly as my share as President Ruto. So when I retire, I'll be taking 20% shares out of the company you built here in Kenya. So that is the problem we're having. Everybody's pulling on their side. Leaders want to be rich. In fact, that's why they are trying to privatize the entire government. So that sell this, sell that. You got that scandal, I don't know, of Mawego or whatever sugar company. They're being linked by these other Indians and whatever. Everybody's trying to sell something, then they buy the same something. So you come to government, you fight the government, have everything else. Like in a house, and you say that, hey, hii kiti mezeka acha to use it. Then you're the one who's going to buy the same kiti. So you send your friend away, chukua your pesa na ununue kiti kwa nyumbangu. So I'll decide the price and come buy it. Then I come own it later. That is the problem. So we are stealing the government. We are actually turning government from public resources we got to private resources for our own benefit. And that's the danger we are having. So this country, if we move in this direction, many people will not afford this country. Many citizens do not afford this country. And the problem we're having in South Africa in terms of the so-called xenophobic attack, I'll give you a practical example in Kenya, for example. You just imagine, now we're having Burundians in Kenya here. We're having Ugandans coming here. We have Tanzanians coming here. And the reason why they're coming in is because either our economy or the currency is a bit strong. So then when you pay them 200 shillings, to them is a lot of money. Kenyans cannot survive on 200 shillings. And that is the exploitation going on in South Africa. As I'm telling you, capitalists will always want profit and exploit that profit. So what they'll do, they'll get cheap labor. Today, we are the same people in our houses who have employed those Burundis and those Ugandans as housewives and whatever, or housemates working for us. And why don't you employ Kenyans? Because Kenya maybe will require 20,000 or 50,000 to being a maid, but a Ugandan will require 5,000 to be a maid. So what do? You better put a Uganda there in the house to be a maid. Then what happens to this young Kenyan lady who wanted to be the same maid? They will not have any source of income. At the end of the day, this Ugandan lady will collect a lot of money and then become a billionaire, open the next shop there. Then she will employ the Kenyan lady to go work in the same shop. That is the critical scenario that's going on in South Africa. So then Kenyans will say, okay, why are we poor in our country? And the Workers' Union of South Africa, in fact, we have talked with the Secretary General of the Pan-African Congress of Azania, is my good friend, the current Secretary General from South Africa. And what they are saying that the workers must demand for better pay, better wages for the citizens. So that when they stop immigrants coming in, what they call the immigrants, who should not be actually immigrants, is to ensure that these so-called immigrants cannot be exploited to take cheap money. Because when they take cheap money, no South African will be employed.
Which is the reason why even when people leave Kenya and other countries anyway, not just Kenya alone, and they go to places like the US, the UK, Germany, and they go there as illegal immigrants, see, they are going to take those jobs that Germans will not do, or Americans will not do, or the Brits will not do, and they'll take for much less. Because when you pay that Kenyan their equivalent of let's say I don't know how much.
Let's say 100,000 for a housewife, maybe a house lady,
a house help, right? So 100,000 bwana, na already hapo hivyo kwa nyumba niko na kila kitu nahitaji, so hiyo 100 yote naweza ituma Kenya.
But you see, that is for an advanced country, a country that their normal interest or the basic interest is already met. But in a country that the population has not advanced to that level, then you interfere with that population to progress. You realize that this population will be left here. But in Germany, for example, as you're saying, they have everything else they want. In UK, so telling somebody to go for a petrol station, where am I going to get there? But in Kenya here, somebody even need that housework. Somebody need that simple job in a shop. But because you don't want to pay him the same amount, you leave him down here. But in the other side, they don't need that job. They don't need it.
Let me ask. The average Kenyan, I think we saw some bulletin last week or the week before that Kenyans who are earning 100,000 and above ni watu kidogo sana. So majority of Kenyans wana earn pesa kidogo. So hii pesa kidogo sijui ni ngapi. But let's even assume it's 100,000. So you have 100,000. I don't know how much the rent is, but tuseme unalipa mfanyikazi hata hiyo 20,000 unasema. Even let's put it at 15. Umeacha Mkenya, na usisahau hii 100,000 iko taxed, so ikisha taxi katakata inafika around 60k. This Kenyan will not be able to afford to pay that house help, that minimum wage of even 15,000.
It is true, because you have not developed or progressed your people beyond.
So that is why you will find them as Watete, but I'm just pointing out the reality.
They'll bring in cheap labor.
Utapata tu huyo Muganda mwenye anakubali 5,000
utamweka kwa nyumba.
Juu uko na mtoto ama watoto.
That is true.
Na lazima washughulike.
But that is true. Yeah. But the reality of the matter is that we are running away from the same problem. When now it tickles like what happens in South Africa, and then you go back to the same issue, asking where did it start from? You see? Because nobody want, of course, to spend more. Everybody want to save in their spending. But in a country whereby, of course, as you're saying, there are so many things you are looking for. For example, in a family in Nairobi here, even if you have maybe 2 kids or whatever, just food alone will be maybe 1,000 average in a day. Food alone. If you do in a month, that's 30,000.
Yeah.
Ujaenda kwa rent, ujaenda kwa whatever.
Hujalipa bus fare.
Hizo vitu zote hata. And imagine many people are either earning 40 or 50,000. Not even 100, 40 or 50,000. Basically, if they have to survive, how many ways? Because there's no any money left for them. Now, because the population earn little and they still need services, that's why they go for cheaper labor. And when they go for cheaper labor, is the government or the country that has not created an environment for them to earn more. For example, why should your employer pay you 40,000? He has so many reasons to give you. Oh, this is here, cost is here, this is here, this is here. That's why I'm getting you 40. But if you lower that and put an environment where everybody can create their own business, or everybody can have a conducive environment to work, they'll pay you more. Or even you not need employment, you'll also create your own employment.
But if Hanifa, for example, Hanifa studied journalism, right? I'm sure in your class, I don't know how many people you graduated, but I am sure it was more than 20.
Yes.
In that one class alone. Already, media jobs as they are, haziko. So let's say for 4 years that Hanifa was in university, every year 20 people graduated. So by the time Hanifa alikuwa amaliza shule, wako 100 of them. Hesabu zile media houses ziko hapa uniambie kama Hanifa and the 80 people that have graduated before her watapata kazi, and that is just for the 4 years Hanifa was in campus.
That is a poor planning from government.
So the point I was trying to bring home is this: if Hanifa comes here and we offer her 40,000 for example, and she's like hapana, no mwezi nilipa 40,000 pesa kidogo, atambiwa my friend kaa kando, there are 80 other people behind you who need the same job and they are willing to take even less than that 40.
It's true, but they will be surviving in the same salary. The issue here is they need it because they have nothing. So you are taking advantage of people being desperate in the economy, so that then you can put them in. You see, the problem even when you talk of education is poor planning. Why should government offer courses when they know this? Government know who graduated where. Those records are there. So why do you continue graduating teachers when there's no schools anywhere? There's no employment rate. Even when you are doing uptake, for example, they're saying they're going to employ 20,000. But how many people graduate annually? So why do you then stop education as a course of other courses that you don't have people? Because I spent my 4 years, because you said I should be a teacher, pay my money, and that's why I even have an issue with the government taxing me or asking me that I have a loan for education. Why do you loan me education? I'm going to serve your citizens, not my family. I'm going to teach citizens in your country who are going to pay you tax as a government. So basically, the person who need me to be educated more is the government, because they need me to serve the citizens.
Yeah, I agree with you. Education should be free.
That's the beginning. So that I'm serving the citizens who can contribute to your economy.
Yes.
But then you loan me education and want me to repay that education. At the same time, I'm paying by helping the community and the country to grow. You see? So when government knows that, for example, we have 100,000 unemployed teachers, then stop teaching course. Try move it to somewhere else. Know what is missing so that you balance an economy. But at the end of the day, you'll be having everybody else. They don't need job. What do? They'll come for your political positions. Like now we are going for them. Because at the end of the day, where do you want to go? And you have to survive. You have money you've spent. You have time you spend. So these are a few things that I still blame government in terms of planning.
And where do you think KOTU comes in all of this labor talks?
No, you see, the origin of labor is to, or any association you are in, is to at least organize so that you can advocate for your welfare. That's the genesis of everything. The reason why you join a union is to improve your welfare. Whether it's a chama, whether it's whatever, is to improve your welfare. But then, the court we have today is not anywhere close to any welfare of a country. The court you have today is a court that is trying to survive.
Niliona walisema waliongea na president, ndio maana mambo ilipandishwa na 12% na 15%.
Imefika kwa mshahara wako. Imefika kwa mshahara wako. You see the proposals are now coming from the same this finance bill. Walipandisha na wakakupandisha pia pay na VAT na everything.
Naona ametoa ya mitumba.
Yeah, you see. So what we are having is that I think we having in fact, even when government work properly, people don't even to have union to agitate. Because everything else will be running. Why do you have to form a union to go agitate for pay every day? Look at, for example, how doctors survive here. They struggle to teach you or to treat you, and then they still struggle to get their pay. What are you doing?
And they're on the roads.
Every day.
Kila siku.
And they're treating your citizens, and they're still on the road every day demanding to be paid. That cannot work for a country. So there are a few things we need to get right moving. And I think we are trying to find a way on how do we also have enough resources for us to implement what we want as a country. There's another thing that we need to talk about.
Yes.
How do you get enough resources to work as a country so that we can sustain what we have? But again, we need to start to have a conversation that how do we lower the cost of running a government? Because when you talk about 70% recurrent expenditure, that's too much. It's as if the only work we do as citizens is to tax us so that we can pay you. Well, there's no service you're giving me. So it's 70% recurrent expenditure every day. You're sustaining offices, you're sustaining vehicles that do not even have or bringing it up to your house. So why should I keep on paying you tax? Why should I keep on giving you my contribution? And there's nothing I'm seeing in this country.
Yes.
So that is the biggest problem you still also have to ask. When government says that, for example, they need, 4 trillion for the budget or whatever they want for the budget, 4 trillion.
4.2, yes.
Yeah, talk about that 4.2. and you get 70% will still be told it's recurrent expenditure. So even hata kwako
na sisi hata tujalipa deni,
even hata kwako if 70% is just on your recurrent expenditure, where are you going? Where are you going? It's like you're earning 20,000 and you're going to 15,000. Where are you going? That's the biggest problem we have. And it's not a matter that we lazima tukue kwa nyumba 15,000. We better kuwa kwa nyumba ya 3,000 na kuna mtu analala njaa. Kuliko tukue nyumba ya 15,000 na ni milango na kope tagongwa na the next debt collector. Muamuke hapa.
But unajua nyumba ya 3,000 bana kuna vitu nyingi sana haina.
Now, let me ask you.
But I get your argument.
Yeah, that's the simple argument I'm putting across. Uko na TV lakini utafungia mlango utawatch your TV, hauna rent. So uko nje TV yako iko ndani. What am I trying to say? The biggest thing for this government and what the citizens are interested is just improve my welfare. If you can make me have access to education for free or health care or food or something like that. Mimi hata sio kisema unataka kujenga expressway somewhere else, I don't care. But at least mimi niko na chakula. But tell me that we are planning to build 10 stadiums somewhere, which infrastructure somewhere. So mtu akotorokana ataenda stadium aenda atafute chakula kwa stadium where they need food immediately before you talk about stadium. Juzi nimesikia anasema anatafuta laptop kupea watoto. How can you go in public?
Amesema we are manufacturing laptops and phones.
Achana huyo. Mtu anasemanga atajui, achana huyo. And I don't know how he's not informed and he has ability to be informed on what's going on. Labda vitu anasemanga labda pia kuna nchi nyingine yako. Because I really don't understand hizi vitu anasemanga zinafanyika wapi.
Elijah sang hapa YouTube anauliza who is this guy? Hawa watu wanatakaje? Hey, forgive me. Munataka aje kwa?
No. Nataka tumaisha mzuri kwa nchi. Hatuwezi kuwa tuna struggle kila siku. Unasikia mtu alikuwa na mabilioni like that other guy juzi. Hizo ya jamaa anasemekana si ajenga nyumba 31 million. Na kaenda kujipigia pole na gari ya 7 million. Wakati vitu zimepomolea Kiturai mtu anaenda wapi? And we are in the same country. Same country. We are all citizens, proud Kenyans. How can we be proud Kenyans in the same country?
Yeah.
Mwambie hizo ndo tunataka.
So you're against capitalism, eh?
No, to some extent of its exploitative interest.
Yeah.
If capitalism could be collecting money and help them for the people, well and good. You know, even when you take ile utu wetu, it is not very right that you come in a community like Migori, for example, where there's gold.
Yes.
And you take that gold and pay them maybe 2 bob, and you're going to sell that gold at maybe 10,000, surely. Hata ukitoka hapo. How do you feel?
Ndio nakwambia Odimwengu, the problem is how our leaders you know, sometimes wacha nikupatie example ya Wakamba. Wakamba tunakuanga very generous na maembe. Wakati wa harvesting season ya maembe rather ikifika, tunaendanga ushago, tunajaza magari zetu
na mnaletea majirani.
Na tunakuja tunapatia majirani na tunakula. Then by the time the season is done, unapata ndio we have harvested, like for example in my shamba I have I think like 70 trees of mango. There's no one point or one day I've never sold those mangoes. But you will find another tribe like the Kikuyu. Unadhani utaenda sasa kwa Mkikuyu kupatie a bag of coffee for free?
Now you see, now
it won't happen. It will never happen.
That's why we also bring some level of perspective or perception we have as well.
Yes.
Generally, irrespective of the tribe we come from, the utu wetu is always there. It's not.
There's a way I've witnessed it honestly for the past 2 years, and I love it.
What? It's there.
Utu
wetu too. That's our community thing. That our Ramba, our together
community.
Thing.
Let's just say community. Yes.
For example, I visited, of course, Central Kenya sometimes. You see, when somebody start to commercialize some things, is the situation making him to do that?
I think the system that we are in and the environment.
Them try to survive. Let me tell you. Yeah. For example, do you want to tell me you are rich enough that you can't sell those 70 mangoes?
I can sell.
And do you think they can't give you any money?
I'm sure they can.
But you see, it is you know how you regulate your interest for money as well. You know how you regulate your interest for money as well. As much as you need it for survival, but you also think you can still have that part of you that says that I'm still in this level.
I've never seen someone come in to give me free coffee. We have coffee growers in this country. Me say patua bag give ya bure unless it was for marketing purposes. Zile za go try this, then you know sell it for us. But I've never gone someone mtu akaniambia Mbuvi karibu sana. Here's a bag of coffee beans.
Your friends ama
friends, neighbors, whatever you want to call them.
Change your friends.
I change them, eh? You've gotten free coffee.
No.
Listen, maybe by the way, yes, I've lived in a community. I have experienced what a community means. So it is possible, but...
So Hanifa, then let me just tell you this. As a Somali friend of mine, na expect ngamia ya bure. Sawa? Wewe mahali watu ya ngamia...
Kwa nini unapanda juu hivyo bwana? Sianze kana njera.
Wa Somali ni personally.
But let me tell you also, when we always used to give as a community, we couldn't put any value to that, whatever we give.
Okay.
And for example, when maybe you help an old lady maybe along the road to carry some luggage to the house, you don't demand what you need to get after the lady gets to her destination.
True.
The lady can decide to give you porridge, they can decide to give you maybe sweet potato, they'll give what they have. And you won't actually start quantifying that ini kidogo,
yes.
I need this and this, you see. And we actually also don't help because we are going to eat njugu in the other side, or we are going to be given milk in the other side. You feel it's a responsibility. And this is what is running away from us as a people. We are trying to get away from who we are, the utu wetu. And the capitalist system we are moving to cannot fit all of us.
But why do you think socialism failed in Tanzania?
No, you see, it's not a matter of failure. It's a matter of how you organize a society. You see? For example, they say sometimes now China is now practicing capitalism a bit and communism a bit. But they have built their country to some level. You see? It depends on how you organize. For example, you cannot say everything is free. There's some level of development that you must put in place. And what I always say, the government responsibility is very simple. Sometimes people ask, is government a necessary evil? That's a big question we ask. Is actually government a necessary evil? But the role of government is actually to provide that basic we have in chapter 4. Do the basic achia hao wengine wafanye vitu zao. So mtu akitaka hata kukuwa na labda nyumba at rent 200,000, mwenye anataka kwenda acha aende, but ensure that at least every citizen get the bare minimum.
All right. Odimwengu, I want us to take a short break. Ukunywe maji kidogo. Then when you return, we also examine some of the things that have been said in the last couple of days.
Tanzania wamesema tunafaa kupigwa
mikwaju.
Na
nimeona another trend, I don't know if you guys have seen it, reject finance bill 2026. Haya. Let's take that break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good evening, I am Dahira Ahmed. Kenya hosted the Africa-France Summit in Nairobi, bringing together President William Ruto, French President Emmanuel Macron, and more than 20 African heads of state at the University of Nairobi. The high-level meeting highlights Nairobi's growing role as a diplomatic and economic hub for Africa and its international partners. The summit focused on strengthening cooperation towards investment-led growth with key discussions on energy, infrastructure, transport, and technology. Leaders were also expected to explore Africa's role in the digital economy and strategies to enhance sustainable development across the continent. The summit officially began today and will run until tomorrow.
And I'm going to ask Kate why she chose Kenya. I would really want to know why, out of all the other countries, why she. There must be something in Kenya that gave I'm talking about. So making sure that some of the best companies across the world come to participate with us. Last year, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, set up office in Kenya. We have many BPO companies set up in Kenya. Why? Because we have young people with the right skills, we have the right infrastructure in terms of internet connectivity, and we have a very enterprising and entrepreneurial population. So in my opinion, this is the space in which we are operating, and I think every other country should be able to think in that direction, because the future is about technology, the future is digital, and AI is going to be at the center of it.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres have praised the United Nations, saying it remains fit for purpose despite changing global challenges. The two leaders also welcomed plans to expand the UN headquarters in Gigiri, saying the new facilities will strengthen the organization's ability to respond to global needs and advance its international mandate.
Particularly important at a time when multilateralism is under considerable strain from geopolitical fragmentation, growing mistrust, fiscal pressures, and widening global inequalities. In this context, the United Nations office at Nairobi stands as a powerful expression of inclusivity, geographical balance, and the universality of the UN system.
From its beginning in the 70s as the home of UNEP and UN Habitat, this campus, generously donated by the government of Kenya, has grown into a dynamic hub of multilateral action. Nairobi is a place where global challenges meet regional solutions, where innovation is born, and where the future of multilateralism is being shaped every day. This is a powerful demonstration of what United Nations can achieve when we are focused, efficient, and united in purpose.
Elsewhere, a 3-day rescue operation to search for miners trapped after the Ogago mine collapse in Bondo has ended after the bodies of 3 miners were recovered. The incident has left families and relatives in deep grief, with special prayers held in memory of the deceased. Reports indicate that the final bodies recovered included 2 brothers, deepening the sorrow among affected families. The families have described the victims as hard-working individuals and are now appealing for government and humanitarian support to help with funeral costs, while the cause of the collapse remains unknown.
Tunaomba tu serikali atusaidie kwa ile inawezekana. Tuko bure nyumbani, hakuna kila kitu yenye tuko nayo. Hatuna nyumba yenye brother yangu mdogo ako nayo ni kidogo. Huwezi tusaidia na wageni. Tunaomba tu msaada kwa wingi.
Otieno aliniacha na watoto 3. Hata hawakulipa school fees. Niko hivi, serikali nisaidie, nipate vile hata wageni wakikuja kwangu wanaweza pata chakula. Nyumba pia sina. Serikali wa kaunti na serikali ya juu mtusaidie, na wale wenye Mungu amewaingia kwa moyo wao, wenye Mungu imeingia kwa moyo wao, ili watusaidie.
Watengeneze simu, wajenge simu. Wakati wanaenda ndani wajenge, na serikali inafaa ingilie maneno, waangalie vile wale wanachimba simu wako na ujuzi zaidi ya kuangalia maisha ya binadamu.
Preparations for the upcoming by-elections have reached the final stage following the arrival of ballot boxes in the country. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission received 3 consignments of election materials at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The ballot papers arrived alongside official election forms. The materials will be used in the by-election for Member of Parliament in Emurua Dikir constituency, Narok County, as well as ward elections in Poro Ward, Samburu Ward and Endo Ward in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
The ballot papers have arrived. We have 3 pallets of them at the moment, which at this point in time we are taking to the national warehouse for subsequent dispatch to the electoral areas. That is tomorrow. The preparation is ready. The logistics is done, and by tomorrow, by this morning, by around 8-9 in the morning, we shall be dispatching them to the various electoral areas for the election. Dispatch and the breaking of bulk will be done on Wednesday, so that each and every polling station by Wednesday evening they shall be getting their ballot papers.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Have a lovely night. I am Dahira Ahmed.
This week, power was tested in the corridors of leadership, economies shook under pressure, and the voices in the streets. From moments of triumph to tragedies that stopped us in our tracks, these are the headlines that shaped our week. And beyond the noise, we search for what really matters: the connections, the context, the stories behind the stories. And this is your weekly news roundup on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
All right, we are back again. This is Radio Generation, Generation Report. Hanifa Adan is in the studio, and I'm also with Pigeon Odumwengu. Pigeon Odumwengu is a presidential candidate next year. We were just talking about some of the things that we think should change as far as governance is concerned. I've seen there's a trend currently, PG Nodimwengu, sijui kama umeiona, reject finance bill. Umeweza kuinteract na hiyo hashtag?
Yeah, I see it a lot.
Yeah. Reject finance bill 2026.
I think we are in a sloganeering period whereby we pick a narrative and move with it. I'm not supporting that finance bill, but I don't think that also somebody should read it for me. I think that should be very important for us to take note of. And remember, the element of rejects came from us. The Gen Zs. I can't say I'm a Gen Z because I think I'm in the transition of Gen Z and whatever.
Millennials.
If you put it 96, I'm there. If you put it 95, then I'm moving out. But I'm in that space.
Okay.
And I think when we said we reject it, there's an element that each person, because our generation is a generation that's a bit actually informed. So we could point out a few things. And therefore, as the hashtag moves around, it should also attach few things that make us reject it.
So for example, sorry, on the 9th of April, this year that is, some of the things that were highlighted, for example, by the Standard newspaper, they are saying ghosts of 2024 Gen Z protests could be reawakened by the return of new taxes on day-to-day items like mobile phones, bottled water, credit card swipe. The finance bill 2026 also empowers the taxman to come down harder on small businesses. This comes as a distressful period when inflation is a 2-year high, squeezing the pocket of ordinary Kenyans. Could the new pain trigger another round of resistance as we head to elections next year? So there are some things they've highlighted, of course not everything, but let me just say some of the pain points. 25% excise duty on mobile phones, and they're saying that specifically this could make a phone that currently costs 3,750. Yeah, they're saying that 25% excess duty on phones, which could add 3,750 to a 15,000 shillings smartphone. So if you wanted to buy a phone worth 15,000, for example, you'll end up buying it at 18,750. Something else that they have put a tax on: bottled water, 6 shillings and 41 cents per liter, despite unreliable tap water supply. They're also saying fruit juices, 14.14 shillings per liter. This is unsweetened, and then 20 shillings per liter for one that has got sugar. Mitumba clothes at 5% value levy, hitting the poorest hardest, because wase wenye tunasemanga wako poor ndio
wananunua. Somebody say imetolewa.
Come again?
Leo, the mtumba.
Amesema imetolewa? Okay. Alafu imported furniture, 30% excise duty. Ceramic sinks, toilets, urinals, 5% of excise value, or 50 shillings, whichever is higher. Crypto and digital wallets, watu wa macrypto, watu wa 10% excise duty on every transaction fee. So that means if you're sending money, you're receiving money, just know if this goes through, 10% excise duty. And then gambling winnings, 20% withholding tax. So kama wewe ni mtu wa kuwekelea kichwa, kama wewe ni mtu wa kuwekelea sijui double chance, multibet mumepatikana leo, 20%.
That doesn't even make sense.
20% withholding tax from 5%, I think it's the current price, or other tax.
My general observation will be, first, how many things here might touch Gen Zs directly?
How many things?
How many of those proposals might go directly to the Gen Zs? And I'll tell you, for example, and if you are part of this, when we went to the street in 2024, few things were clearly directly touching on us. They were not even somehow like a luxury thing. Remember when they were talking about taxation on baby pampers and women
sanitary towels, yeah.
Tell me, that was touching us directly. And when you're out there, you can even quantify, I'm going for this, and I will not accept this to pass. You see? But, of course, I'm not saying those things should pass. I don't even think that government should keep on taxing citizens where they have a lot of resources lying here. I don't think that we should do that.
I mean, actually, to be honest, I'm okay with taxes, by the way, but zile kuna zingine unapatanga imeongezwa mpaka unauliza hiyo imeongezwa kwa nini?
But Mbovu, let me ask you, even if you're okay with the taxes, which of course I don't think we can have a debate about.
Okay.
Let me ask you, if you have any cash crop in the family, for example, either muko na hiyo kahawa you're talking about,
yes,
which you can sell somewhere. Badala muuze hiyo kahawa, you're telling everybody mtoange 5 bob kila siku tuende na unga. And you know, if you sell kahawa, you'll get that pesa ya unga. Why do you insist on that? And the same thing, unapeana bure. Si hata zimelala hapo. There's a foreigner somewhere na kampani paange pesa, but hizi sema bado mnaambiwa kila mtu toa 55 to tununue unga. That's the problem you're having. So even before we focus on taxation, look at even the amount we want to raise. The total budget is 4 trillion. Do you think the value of mineral resources we have here is not worth than that 4 trillion? But we are not ready even to focus there. But even when you collect the tax, why don't you then start focusing and extracting those mineral resources or those natural resources we have, so that we can, maybe in 5 years time, we'll not continue taxing our people, because we can invest that.
You see, let me give another scenario also in terms of how I think taxes should be done. Instead of having the three of us in the studio buying everything for the company, buying lunch for the company, or maybe just hiring a matatu, maybe we want to travel to Mombasa or wherever. How about everyone chips in? Because currently very few Kenyans are paying tax. So you find that you have to pay much more because the producer on the other end is not paying anything. You find that the photographer on the other side is not paying anything. So you have to pay for yourself, you have to pay for the photographer, and you have to pay for the watchman, and you'll have to pay for the driver. So unapata yani kamshara kako kadogo kanafinywa sana. Yet bala tukukate 30,000 for example, tunaweza kukata 5 na wale wengine wote 5, so kila mtu atakuwa tu sawa. I am for the idea, instead of them coming for more of our money, they just widen the, what is it called, they tax base. They just find more people to tax because majority of Kenyans do not actually pay tax.
But the question will be very simple.
Yes.
The informal sector, I will tell you, the informal sector that drive this economy actually are not in the tax bracket.
Because they can't afford.
But the question is, that's what not even they can't afford.
Let me tell you, they are doing business whether they are making small money. Even if they're earning 10 shillings a day, they can still be taxed. Ni hao tu kusikizana na serikali kuangalia pia biashara zao, wale venye wata tax, because 10 shillings
tax 10 bob.
But what I'm saying is we can have a proper system for that. Of course, the system we are running is also unequal, as you're saying. There's a lot of inequality in between, and I think that's why some people feel more privileged. Watasema nyi hata mlipi tax. That's the interesting thing. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is we're also having elements of so many double taxation. I might not be paying tax, but maybe I'm paying other form of tax, because it's not only one form of tax in this country. That's the first thing we need to talk about. The second thing is why somebody don't want to pay tax. One is either they don't see the value of that. Two is either it's not even, there's no proper framework to do that. For example, let me ask you, if I'm running in my informal sector, for example, and I'm having maybe, talk about watoto wa matatu, na madereva wa matatu ama onge mtu yote, and you know that they are M-Pesa, like now they are trying to run the M-Pesa thing and people are trying to bring issues. If I get maybe 30,000 in a day or in a month, then you take some percentage of that can make sense directly. But wewe kuniambia even the framework on which mimi mwenye nafanya kazi yangu ya mapikipiki, I am going even to pay that tax, that avenue alone is not existing in the first place. No, well, at least wanajua mali salary yako itakuja wakati. Sasa mimi yangu, how are they going to collect my tax? You see? Not that people don't want to pay tax, but people are also discouraged from paying tax because they don't see the value of even those who are paying tax to anything contributing to them. Because pesa la kuja na skill ipotea. Sijui ilienda wapi, imeenda wapi. So even those who are paying tax, they're also complaining because even their tax is disappearing. They don't see anything else. You see? You've been paying tax to maybe a revenue of 3 trillion, for example, out of this 4 trillion. Then the government cannot even build a public school, mwalimu mtoto wake ataenda. It can't even work on a school somewhere, hospital somewhere mahali utajisaidika. Bado tena utoe pesa yako, upeleke mtoto private hospital, private somewhere, until aletewe paka private road, bado unataka kulipa pesa yako. So you ask yourself, how are you using my money? How are you using my tax to make everything private? So we need, first of all, to have a platform on how people informal sector can come into paying tax. That's one thing we need to do. So that is very possible. You know, the problem is that it's not easily possible. So whether you want to use M-Pesa or anything else, you just pay a percentage of what you earn. They either say give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, as you say it.
Yeah.
Give just a percentage of 41. So then we talk about the next story and how it's being used.
You know, I want to bring our attention to this issue of water. Yeah. So they are saying, for example, bottled water is going to be taxed at 6 shillings per liter. Ukienda kwa supermarket when wanapendanga kununua zile mtungi za maji ile kubwa ya kwenda kwa dispenser, hiyo kitu inakuanga I think roughly like 20 liters, right? Now that 20 liter, imagine, I don't know how much
by just say 6 shillings per liter by 20 liters.
Yeah, so I don't know how much it's currently being sold, but let's just take this 6 shillings per liter. Already your bottle umeongeza na 120. How many Kenyans are going to be, and you know there are some people who take up to 5-6 bottles depending on a month, depending on the size of the family. You are adding a proper expense on those particular families because already people don't have they don't have tapped water in their homes. Now maybe wengine wako na tapped water watu wanapata ni a borehole, so it's not safe for drinking. It's probably just good for laundry.
And that is something
basic.
Yeah.
Why do you tax it?
What is very basic?
I think here imefikia Gen Z. You are saying that the 2026 finance bill.
Some of us Gen Z, for example, would say, rarely do you interact with buying a bottle of water or even having that. But you see, again, they say you cannot only say that when it touches you is when you speak.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah,
do you think we need
like
to be individualistic when it comes to
it should be like that. It should be collective.
Our problems.
Because the next day, they say that when they came for Paul, you didn't speak because it was Paul. Then when they took Paul, they came for James. There was nobody to speak for. You see, the key issue is, first of all, from the rationale. Water is basics. Period. It is the responsibility in the Constitution for government to provide water and sanitation, clean water.
Yes,
ni kazi yao. Wameshindwa kufanya hiyo, wanakutax wewe mwenye unajitafutia maji yako. Then the next thing, hii tax wanakutafutia wewe, si ati wanaenda kuchimba na borehole next day usiende ununue kwa super.
Wanangojea mtu akishafanyia kazi yote wanakuja kuanza.
Sasa if they could be taking your money from supermarket so that in the next year utakuwa na sasa maji na kuja directly fresh kwako, because I'm contributing to that project. But when they take the money and they don't even have any plan on how you'll get the fresh one, they take it for something else, for their luxury and anything else, then that is robbing us. That's not taxation.
How much are we paying currently in terms of the loans that we keep on paying? I understand the last time we paid almost 1 trillion, I think.
Actually, I think leo tumekopa IMF. I think I saw some news like that.
So tukilipa 1 trillion, actually it's more than 1 trillion. It's 1 point something trillion. Now imagine this. We are told that we lose 3 billion daily through corruption and wastage. Imagine saving 3 billion daily for 365 days in a year. That's already 1 trillion. Actually, it's more than 1 trillion. We would be paying these loans and still have enough money. It wouldn't be enough, but we'd still have something left to continue funding our budget. So I have a problem when we are increasing taxes, but we are not sealing the loopholes. We are not sealing the wastage. We are not sealing the corruption, and we're also not increasing the tax base. I think every Kenyan should be, hata kama wewe ni mtu wa boda boda,
unalipa 1 bob, unalipa 5 bob, unalipa 20 bob, unalipa 30 bob,
but you should see the result.
Before even talk about fixing the results, we must first of all also be ready to contribute. Then you work on fixing the results. Because see, whoever is failing us here is the leader we elected, who is not actually getting us the right results we need. So let's contribute and be decisive that we must correct the leadership, so that you can see the value of that money. But here you contribute and you don't see the value, and you still elect the same leadership that do not provide any value to you. You see? But again, you see, what we need to look at again is that when you talk about that loan, for example, let me tell you, for example, if you take 100,000 as a loan from the bank, then you feel you are unable to pay it back, how did you use it? Because to the level that now you are coming to tax us to pay 1 trillion. Do you know 1 trillion ingetumika tu hii Kenya vizuri, 1 trillion. Yule kopa.
Underline vizuri.
Tunge struggle kuilipa. Tunge struggle kuilipa 1 trillion. So the issue is, some individuals take 1 trillion then come for us to collect to Arambe for their own repayment. So you take 1 trillion, uiweke maybe kwa hizo hoteli zenye wameweka, alafu the repayment time is Arambe. So kila mtu atoe yake tuchange tuende tulipe. We cannot run a government like that. And we must just say that, as some of us have been pushing the audit and the audience debt and those so many things, I think it's the item that we must take serious responsibility. The constitutions demand that we must also be responsible citizens, and we must demand on how our resources are used. And not only demand, take action. And the best way sometimes to take action is impeach them through election. Just impeach them. If this person could not account for whatever, wewe yake nyumbani leta mtu mwingine.
Unaona kama hii scandal ya mafuta ilikuwa juzi. I would be very happy if I saw heads rolling, like literally. Like people being beheaded. That's what I mean by literally. Yeah. But since I know that won't happen, I want to see people going to jail. I want to see people going to jail for a very long time. Forever. Like wewe inasemekana uliba X amount of money, odimwengu unafungwa na tunakusahau.
And who do you want to jail them?
You see, there's
the person who should jail them is the person who should decide to be there so that they can jail them. You see? Because you have the power. For example, in that case, either the president could have either said what he want to say, either the parliament or the judiciary could work what they want to work on, either the ODPP, somebody could do something. But it is that all these people sometimes are appointees of the president. Whether you go to ODPP or whatever, you work on the prerogative of the president. But because you have somebody who will not jail them, you will continue expecting them to jail them because they are also beneficiaries in this process.
I don't know if you guys are aware that in China last week they arrested 2 generals, army generals, because apparently they divulged information to what are they called, to their enemies or to some foreign entity. Now these guys,
they were spies.
Yes, well, not really spies, but walipenda information hawakufaa kupeana. These guys were convicted to death, like they were sentenced to death.
Wow.
Yes, and you know in China they don't joke, wakisema unanyongwa, my friend, unanyongwa.
Even the real Singapore.
Yeah. Them not the fake one here.
The fake one, Singapore.
Hii ya China by the way wakisema unanyongwa. So this is what has happened. And these guys, by the way, they were very close friends of the current president Xi Jinping. Right? Yes. Like ni mabeste. Like wali grow pamoja in the party, the China Communist Party. Yes. They were buddies. I don't know the kind of example I can use, but let's say it's probably someone like Kalonzo, Dan Manzo, the senator for
use Ruto and Chirchir. He's close friends from
so you can imagine nyinyi mabesa hivi, lakini president aliwaambia wase mnabeba msalaba peke yenu. But now what has happened is they have been given a 2-year suspended sentence. If they have good behavior while in jail, it will be commuted to life in prison. So they will still spend time, they will still be punished for their crimes, but they will be punished. It's just that because of the hierarchy they've held and the kind of things they did for their country, that has been considered. But wameambiwa, my friend, punishment na inakuja. Hapa hakuna mtu ataachiliwa ende nyumbani. Hapa hakuna mtu ati sijui ataambiwa lipe deni then to forgive. Ilikuwa ni death. Now by the way wameambiwa 2 years. Even those, if in the 2 years they do not have good behavior, then it is the guillotine for them. There they don't joke. It's the firing squad. Unaenda mbele ya firing squad, they spray you with bullets and you are given to your family. Your family goes to do what they will do with your body. I would like to see something similar odimwengu here in Kenya, whereby I see the president's friend that we have been saying that guy is corrupt. I'd like to see the president say, my friend, the people have spoken, the law is very clear, you did this knowingly and you knew that you're committing a crime against the country, and I am not going to help you, suffer by yourself. Beba msalaba wako.
Now that one, then we'll have to start with all presidents first. that's why we need to start from, because until we don't have them there, we will not going together. In fact, the first people who should suffer. Wow.
And by the way, their case has taken about a month. Si kama pa za Kenya.
They concluded,
Si kama pa za, from the day they were arrested to when they were convicted. Record time, 1 month. Present the evidence, jiteteeni, kila mtu aseme yake. Sentence inapasiwa. Hakuna stories za kuestem kama pa Kenya file inapotea. Unaona sijui judge amejitoa.
Things that we need to get away from.
Yes,
we need to have a country and a system that works for us. Hizo mama papers zinaenda wapi? Mtu alipotea wapi?
Judge anajitoa anasema hii kesi ama anapigwa transfer. Alikuanga Nairobi, anatumwa Mandera, anaambiwa wewe ufanye kazi Mandera.
But Mbuvi, we will not get it right until we start to get people who are ready to do what is right.
And I agree.
And it's not that this country don't have people who are ready to do what is right.
I agree.
But the problem is, do we really as citizens ready to get what is right done? Because then we give power to those leaders.
Yes.
But how do we even agree or arrive at who becomes the president. It's not on the basis of what we want. It's on the basis of what they give us and what they tell us. As if we citizens don't know where we want to go. So we are treated to so many manifestos and so many handouts, and then you vote on that basis. So the responsibility must also start with the citizenry that are ready to defend their country and get the right thing and the right leadership. It goes back to the people first. And the people must come out and say, enough is enough. And with that, they'll get right leadership. And when that leadership goes astray, they'll be afraid of the citizens. But today, somebody still and he knows that the community will come and defend them. Huh? And somebody will say,
or because they are friends with the president, kesi inaisha.
Ebona like the story to danganyo venye kwa samia oil. Where did those people go to? Ati wameresign wakaenda wapi?
They're going to be promoted there.
Yes, simple question. So we have a leadership.
They'll run in 2027 and they'll be elected.
As a reward, of course, Kenya loves and rewards criminals.
So even I think we need to take our leadership serious. We must know that the country will fall based on the leadership, and if it has to rise, it will be.
And I have a question on that. Do you think it's possible, looking at the situation in this country, first of all, tribalism, and I keep saying the fact that Kenya, the Kenyan politics lacks ideological alignment. That is why we are always running back to our tribe. Tribalism is always at the center of it. Is it actually possible to just be one and decide enough is enough?
No, poverty. Poverty goes beyond tribalism. You know that. And I'll tell you when it was a bit possible. I don't know whether Ruto got the right numbers in 2022 or no. But the ability of the hustlers who are suffering and whatever brought some level of unity. And there was a hustler in any community. So there's no community that didn't have a hustler. And that hustler said, we are going to vote for the hustler. The fake one, of course, but it shows how they were desperate about it. And it shows a lesson that we must learn as we move ahead to 2027. Are we really after changing the leadership just for the sake of leadership change? Or are we really ready to ensure that there's a change in our livelihood? That's very important. Yes. I'm not saying that you are retaining Ruto. Ruto must go. But Ruto going, Kibaki went, Moi went, Uhuru ameenda na tuko hapa. So changing the leadership without being very clear on what we want is a danger we are going to face. The hustlers were very optimistic. 3 years down the line, hao ndio wanataka kutoa serikali Kenya, hao ndio waliamukia asubuhi wakapigana wakacelebrate kwa streets. Because you only talked about personalities and somebody confused you with some ideas, then you say that we are going for that.
Okay, so you're saying it's beyond Ruto must go. That
it must be. It's not that it is beyond.
Does that mean you're against the united opposition?
No, you see the agenda where the united opposition is united basically is because they want Ruto out. I'll tell you frankly, the all united opposition are united to get Ruto out. Because what do they want to give this country beyond Ruto going? Well, they have been part of the same governments for some period of time. Whether they did something in their ministry or no, but they have been part of government and they didn't deliver anything that is tangible to the citizens. And that when they say, we are united opposition. United for what?
And that is why, Odimwengu, if the Gen Zs do not come out and say clearly who they want to elect, the people that you're saying are the same as Ruto, the united opposition. My friend, those are the folks who are going to capture the country.
No, it's true. I experienced something on that. But the Gen Z must not only say who they want. They must also be the person they want to be. Nothing in this constitution limits any Gen Z to contest for any position. And these are fellas that sometimes have been sent around that, you must reach this level. No. So if you know what you want, why don't you represent it? Why do you think somebody else will go and represent you? Why do you think that? Because ikifika mahali pa kusema sasa nani anafaa, tuko na discussion wa Mtata nadhani anafaa, siji Maraga nadhani anafaa, nini nadhani anafaa. Kama tungekuwa na mentality, tungekuwa kwa 2024. Tukianza kusema nani anafaa kwa mbele, nani anafaa kwa nyuma, nani anafaa kwa wapi. But we moved organically and people came. You see, when we know what we want, not who we want, the what we want will guide us to who fits the bill. But if you have not identified really what you stand for or what you want, then anybody can fit what they want. So if you're very clear kwamba hii na hii hatutaki mtu akokorata, hatutaki mtu fulani, now you can use that as a measure to get what you want. But here tukutuna narrative ya who is who. So tutaenda the narrative of who do you want to replace Ruto with. Then after that, we don't know even what do you want that person to do for us. And you see, that is what sometimes Dr. George Aiti addressed in his book called Defeating Dictators on the issue of what he calls revolution reversals. When citizens are not very informed and very strategic and very organized on reality on how they achieve what they want before even the elections or before the revolutions, there's a possibility of a revolution reversal, because you are not clear before you went to the ballot that, come on, for example, tunataka public hospitals, and you have a clear agreement that it cost this and we'll have to go through this process for us to get it. Now, if you don't have that clarity of what you want, when you vote who you want, the next 100 days, you need the change. And if that change is not coming, you will not be patient enough to wait for it, because you will not think beyond who.
Okay, so that is what it means, going beyond Ruto must go.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we have all agreed now, maybe we want Ruto to go. But why don't we concentrate our time now to decide what Kenya we want? 1, 2, 3, 4, and how are we going to get there? Because just having a dream without a strategy and a clear plan on how it is realistic is going to cost us. Ruto will go, the next leader will come in. In 1 year, we'll go protest for the same leader because hajafanya kenye tulikuwa nataka. Because we were not very clear on how we are going to get there.
But how do you get those millions and millions of young Kenyans to decide and say that this is the person we want to elect?
That's what I'm saying. The struggle is not about even the person we want to elect.
As a leaderless movement.
No, the struggle is about what we want as a nation. Let me tell you, people will be on the ballot. People will be on the ballot. But what will guide us to elect the leader? If we are very clear on what we want, then hatutakuwa kwa mambo na treble. Hata nasema juu sasa sisi kama majenzi wa Kikuyu tunaendea ule Mkikuyu. Sisi kama ziwa fulani tunaendea mtu fulani. I think we need to spend much of our time today. Leave the opposition do their politics. As Gen Zs and even the working class, for example, we need to spend our time to start working on the charter we want. These ideas that policies and manifesto will come from leaders to the citizen should now change. The citizens must now be very clear that this is what you want, this is what it's going to take, this is when we expect it, and this is how it's going to be possible. So now, when you come in, whether you elect who, you have a basis to judge them.
But okay, again, and I'm going to ask, and it will look like I'm just, sounding like a broken record. How will those people that we are calling Kenyans, whether young, old, or working class,
collectively decide?
Exactly. Because it's only bees and ants I have seen thinking, working as one.
Now you think, we have so many grassroots movements, you know that. And they are meeting people from various platforms and whatever. The argument should be, how do we start creating those whatever grassroots movements so that we can start engaging the community? I know there are people doing that. Other movements are doing that. But how do we then coordinate that together? It's very possible. Because when you know the same agenda, and our agenda is the Kenya we want, not the who we want to take out of power, then it's very possible to organize these people in any community. Now, with even social media, it's very easy then to meet people from any ward. And let's talk about we, the people of this area, or this constituency. Ni Kenya hii, ni nini tunataka? Achana nani tunataka? Mimi nataka hii na hii na hii. From that level of just putting forth the proposals, then we need to take it now further to some experts to start now putting that program on how we're going together. You see, for example, the Kenya Vision 2030. It was something that was thought. It comes from the people saying we want this. Then some expert taking forward when it can be possible. So that is where we need to go to. So that when we elect a leader, tayari tumejua tunataka kwenda wapi. Si atakuja kutuambia tunataka kuwapeleka tao. No. We know where we want. We must define where we want to go as a citizenry, as a generation, so that then ukikuja hata kama wewe ni nani, tunakwambia bwana, si tunaenda Huruma. Kama uwezi enda Huruma kaa kando. Kama uwezi tupeleka hapa kaa kando. And we have a map. So tukiona amepiga kona anaelekea Kayole, we know no, this is not Huruma. But today when we are just moving the dream of a person, a bottom up thing, and then when you change it to this, it will still bottom up. So you are still patient, you're moving around the corners. We are a people that must now define where we want to go as a country, what is going to take for us to be there, and how do we get all those things right. Then we put the leadership that can take us there. But this conversation we are still having, you see, we'll have candidates. In the last election, we were 57, and we ended up having 4. It was not 2, 4. Sindio? Because we viewed it as 2. Well, he had 4 candidates. But we could not even agree who, because we never heard where we want to go. But when we know where we want to go, whether you'll find Mtata on the ballot, you'll find Pigeon there, you'll find whatever there, at least you can now gauge who can fit the bill to take me where I want to go. Because we know people whom we cannot trust to take us anywhere. They've been taking us around with the lies year in, year out. But I think that's where we're losing the focus. So if we can take that effort as concerned citizens to start defining the Kenya we want, the template we want, and that we can do easily, either barazas, either virtually, or either whatever, and we can collect this movie. You see, when we came to the street here, it was organized via virtual platforms, and we were there every day, and support came in. When a group start to be organized, some bright minds and ideas will come in. But when a group is moving all over, wengine wanapata za jenzi wako nyuma ya mtu fulani, wako nyuma, there's no agenda at all.
Yeah, we
tuko kwa baba, sisi tuko huku, sisi tuko kwa huyu, sisi tuko, so we will end up with the same problem as a generation. We will not actually liberate ourselves from where we are running from.
And that is what Mbuvi is asking. We are fragmented and leaderless, aggressively leaderless. So no one can come out and say, guys, let's go this way. Let's go this other way.
We are not leaderless.
So how do we do this?
And if we are not leaderless.
I know, but
some of us have gone to leaders. The problem, we need to focus on what we want, Anifa, so that we follow that what we want. When we went to the street, it was not about Ruto. It was about those diapers. It was about those taxation. We knew what we are against. Then when people now came up with the G-Talker, impeachment, whatever, one-time thing, that was something else out of what we wanted. What we wanted, we knew very clearly. Now, I think boxing as to who we want to stand behind is trying to fix us in the same problem. We should spend our energy as a generation to decide what we want, leave alone who. The who will come automatically. But hii story ya sasa tusimame wote nyuma ya mtu fulani, tusimame wote nyuma ya mtu fulani, tusimame wote nyuma ya mtu fulani, tunaenda nao wapi mtu fulani? You see, I think for the good part of this country, as we move politics forward, politics must now change from politicians telling the citizens what they want to citizens telling the politicians what they want and where they want to go.
See, Odumwengu, for example, you're a presidential candidate.
Yes, I am.
You're a young person.
Yes.
At what point will you sell yourself to the people?
No, I'll come. You know, the good thing is that
so that they can start making that choice. Because I believe choices are made early enough, and especially one as important as the president.
Let me tell you, the memory of Kenyans is very... I think we have this... the other day we were seizing Isifuna. Today, not everybody is still seizing Isifuna. And the next thing we were in Moraras and Kinakasmuel. And the other day we were in the other side of G, Wamunyoro, today is a one-time. And all these things. Kenyan narratives, because we've been using just political slogans and narratives. And those narratives do not stay long. You see? They don't stay long. But when we get time, because for example, let me tell you, to be known today in this country, the reason why sometimes people start politics early is what it takes for you to be known. But a politician of my generation, I'm not thinking of the time limit on how I can reach out to my people. I can reach out to my people anytime. Like for example, where we are today, I might be reaching maybe 100,000 people or 50,000 people. So I don't have to go to Ushago kwa kila mulango, nikipita na gari hivi anione ndio amepita. So that they can know me. We are in a tech.
But mashinani bado
no, it's true. Let me tell you. But kila nyumba iko na radio. Kama haina iko na radio jirani. Kila nyumba. Utapata mashinani hata kama iko kwa simu ya mulika mwizi. In fact, if there are many people who actually know what's going on in this country kwa hizo masimu na maradio ni watu wenye kwa mashinani. Some of us don't even spend time with our TVs in our houses, but we are on our phone. Now with them, they don't have smartphone, but wako na radio zao wamenunua huko nyumbani. Msikia mzazi anakuambia ile radio yangu nilipie, ama hiyo mulika mwizi yake ameweka FM ya nyumbani. We can reach out to them through that platform. And we'll reach out to so many people. So I don't have to think about how we'll go in the corner of somewhere there in Turkana for me to be known. I only think of how can I get to the medium that the people of Turkana can know me. You see? So politics then change from the time frame. Because with technology, you reduce that time completely.
You see, someone like the president, any president, not just President Ruto, but any president, even if I were the president today, I have the advantage of incumbency. I have the instruments of power and a lot of things.
So says...
For example, right now, there's this thing called Nyota Fund.
Yes.
That was supposed to go to 1450 wards. Yani basically all the wards. Like, for lack of a better word, the president of this country will reach every village in the country.
That's true.
Okay? Aki-implement hiyo kitu venye alisema ata-implement. How do you compete with... And that is just one project.
No, it's true. Mbovi, you
see... Bunyambia kwa ward yenu, which is a village now, kwa hiyo village yenu, you can see Hanifa amesaidika na hiyo 22,000 alikuwa anapeana, mwingine pale amesaidika na hiyo 22,000. That guy has got influence that you and I don't have yet.
No, Mbovi, is true. I'm not speaking that I'm not optimistic much. But I'll tell you reality based on what you're saying. The incumbent always have advantage.
Yes.
You see? And if an incumbent loses, it's their mistake. And I'll say that not because I think that Ruto must come back again. But if Ruto lose this election, it will be based on his own failure.
So it is his election to lose.
Is his election to lose. Because as you're saying, he has resources. Ruto anazeta paka mamako nyumbani na kuja kaya status na afurahia sana venye anaona rais na akapewa 10,000. Your own mother in the village. He has the ability to do
happening.
that. Yeah, he has the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So as an incumbent, he has advantage. But one thing you cannot twist is the character of a leader. And that's why citizens must move beyond what pleases me to what I want. And the character of an individual. We might forget. Juma Mangu alikuja Nairobi akapewa 10,000 kwa status akasalamia rais Kenya, alifurahia sana. In fact is historical. Na kwa maisha yake anazabotia huyu juu. Nilimuona. Nilimsalamia.
Bwana wale wengine wajai niita huyu ananiita.
Hasa nafa nilikula. At least pesa ya serikali. You see those arguments. So Ruto has advantage on his side. And I think that's why he should not even struggle to stealing election should not be something that should be struggling. He should not have a strategy to steal election. He should have strategy to win the people. You see? Because there's ability to do that. Hata chief wa kwenu, alivile jela, ni government administrator. So hata naza tumia your village jela na takufikia.
Actually wanatumikanga si uongo.
They have structures. And that's why we
waliongezewa pesa by the
And that's why we must be very cautious as people who are facing this leader to get him out. We must be first of all very cautious and know the advantage he has. We must study and know that what you are fighting was not just a simple slogan, that you are going to win just on the basis of simple slogan. This is a person who has all system working for him.
Exactly my question. So do we not need a united opposition for that?
Let me tell you, it's not about unity, what I'm telling you. It's not about unity. It's about strategy.
Okay.
Leave alone unity. No, Ruto doesn't need to unite with anyone to still stay in power. In fact, I think it anasema your ODM whatever, he doesn't need even ODM to still retain power. Because he has the ability to reach your parent in the village. He has the ability to reach the last voter, to convince the last voter. That's the ability he has. But his character and his track record will betray him.
But do you think Kenyans follow character?
That is the problem.
Odimungu, majority of Kenyans live in Ushago.
That's true.
Sindio? 70% of Kenyans, if not more, they live in Ushago.
That's true.
Very few are in the urban areas. You and I, we will not think as our tribe first. We will think as young people, right? Lakini pale Ushago, bwana wale watu nafikiria kama watu wa
as a block.
But it's not even a block of tribe. Let me tell you.
Hata tunimalize argument yangu alafu unisaidie kuielewa ama unidismantelie pia. So wanafikiria kama watu wa Shamahoho. Pale Kitui County, mali nimetoka panaitwa Onya. Watu wa Onya wanafikiria kama Onya. Na wengine wengi mali watakuwa wanatoka hizo places zingine zote. So sisi watu wa Nairobi constituting 30%. And these guys who are 70%, you tell me, at the end of the day, if Gen Zs do not have a united voice, if we have Odimwengu vying and another person maybe from Ukambani vying, and then you have someone else from Lowland lying and vying rather, I think number one, we shall have split the vote very well, and number two, we shall either give the incumbent advantage or the united opposition advantage. Because I can assure you one thing, this united opposition hao wanajipanga along tribal lines, because wanajua hiyo kitu ya 70% wako mashinani, so at the end of the day 70% are tribal and they are working with that 70%. That is why they will bring Wiper, hiyo ni ya Wakamba, they will bring sijui nani, hiyo ni ya Waluya, they will bring sijui nani, hiyo ni ya Wajaluo na ya Wakisii.
That's why I don't dispute the element of unity. But what I'm saying is that we must be guided by what we are uniting against. So we must first of all agree on what you want. Then when you're uniting, we're uniting to a certain goal. You see, when you just put a leader to a group that do not know where they want to go to, they will take that leader easily. Atasema mimi umejua mimi ni mae kwa mahali fulani nikapiga kelele mahali fulani nilikuwa kwa maandamano hata nilishutiwa ndio niko na evidence hapa so mimi nawapeleka. Then they go. But it's very important that we start first of all concentrating on what unites us, what brings us together. It's not age alone. Yes, we are Gen Zs, but what do we want that now will bring us together? So that from there we unite in that. Let us not go in the line of wenyewe watu wanasema sasa mimi na unite mimi ni Mkisii nimekuja united opposition nimekuja nakuja SR Muluya tunafaa tuingie to combine na Mkamba na tukue mahali fulani. That should not be our basis. The age gap or the age group or the age set we are having is the advantage we have. But we need to move beyond that if we have to unite truly by agreeing on what you want as a generation. And yes, as you're saying, the unity of the Gen Z, I know not Gen Z, the unity of the youth of this country, whether the millennials and the Gen Z, in fact, I'm calling upon, if the millennials could come together and join the Gen Zs and make an alliance of that age gap, then agree on a common agenda, not they use age as a factor to come in. as other people use tribe.
I think
But now
everyone, not even the millennials.
Yeah?
Everyone needs to come together.
No, you see, the problem is there's a generation that still think on the tribal line, and we agree. No, there's a generation that
You think Gen Zs are not tribal?
No, I agree, but see the element of them pushing for an action beyond their tribe. You see, that's something you pull an action beyond tribe.
For
That's
example,
evidence.
there's a generation that is like, we cannot have another Kikuyu president. There's that generation by there. So it doesn't matter how you convince them. So even if you were to present a Gen Z presidential candidate, they just don't want that Gen Z candidate to be a Kikuyu. They can be any type. And again, there's another generation, and it's the same generation who are like, hatuwezi chagua mkale mwingine, come rain come sunshine. Unaona? So already they are very split on that.
They're very split on that. And I'll tell you, if you speak to your mom in the village or your parents in the village, you may realize that how they make political choices is very different than how you make your political choices. It will be totally different. In fact, to them, Raila winning election, Raila being on the ballot is something very great for them back then. They don't care whether he's going to lose or how ajali ni mtu wetu. And even the same, if you go to Kalenjin community today, they still vote Ruto whether they have not seen any development or whatever, ni mtu wao. But there's a generation that their conscience is trying to unite them together. The millennials are actually the working class that are pushing this industry. And they're the people suffering even from the so-called taxation. In fact, majority of the Gen Z maybe hawajafika hata mahali wanaguza na hizo mamaji na whatever.
Gen Z ndio na the young people in general basically, hawa ndio watu wa hii country. Wacha nisikudanganye.
No, it's true. What I'm saying, the future of this country is for them. The struggles of this country today is barely by the millennials. The working class majority.
Yes.
The working class, and you realize that most of Gen Zs might not be in the formal working class, whether we're gonna be a biashara or whatever, but wakapa kwa transition ya kuingia sasa life. No. But the working class here suffer the current consequence. The Gen Z will bear the next consequence, either tomorrow's consequence. So if these two people cannot come together to correct today for the purpose of tomorrow, then wataacha ama millennials wasafa leo juu wako hapo. Then tomorrow watakuja hapo. You see? So the big thing is, that's what I'm saying, let's unite on the problem we are facing today. And let's see that this problem, si ya jirani peke yake. I think that the rest of the generation, they will come. You'll get maybe 10% of them or 20% coming and joining you. They'll come. But you must first of all agree to sit together and talk. Today, if there was no three people in united opposition, you could not hear the next person coming in. And you know political alliances, for example, those party alliances, ama coalitions. Utapata kuna coalition ilikuwa na watu wangapi? Ilikuwa na watu karibu 20 political parties. But it must start with a group of people agreeing to come together and not coming together. Like I know we have a coming meeting, I think, for those whom are considered to be progressive presidential aspirant, young of us. There's a meeting coming up. But what I'm pushing even that is that let us not start early by saying who is more progressive or who is more fit to be a president. Let's first of all agree on what you want for this country. Let's sell that agenda. When you sell that agenda, at least you have people following an agenda. It will be very easy for us, even hata tukisema sasa tuende kwa hiyo nominations, transparent nominations, hii watu 10 wenye tunasimama kama majenzi. Even when you get a leader out of that, you're very sure he's going to follow the agenda. Ndio tutoke kwa hiyo narrative who is more smarter, who is more experienced, nani amaekwa wapi. When we meet as leaders, we must meet to start directing conversations to us what you want for the country. When we sell that agenda that you want for the country, people buy it. No, people will easily buy an agenda than an individual. Because when individual kama ni venye unasema itakuwa ni tribal line. Huyu kwanza ni mtoto, huyu sijui alifanya nini, huyu sijui ni wa wapi, venye unasema huyu ni Mkikuyu, huyu ni whatever. But when you sell an agenda that we don't have water here and we need to have it. We don't have food here and we need to have it. And this is how we are going to, not only we need, not only a dream,
the how.
The how must be very clear. Tutatoa hii hapa na itakosti pesa na hii pesa itatoka hapa na itaenda mahali fulani. When that is very clear, no matter who you elect out of that, whatever nominations you have, every citizen can vote in.
You know, there's something
Speaking of Gen Z. Nataka kuuliza Samia. Samia amesema Gen Z watandikwe wakuja.
Wapigwe mikwaju.
What do you think of her sentiment?
You know, when you're a parent, there's a time when a child gets at an age where they are no longer children at all. And I think we are no longer children to Samia's thinking. Those whom he calls Gen Zs are individuals who voted for her to be in. Without the votes of those whom she thinks are Gen Zs, she couldn't be a president there. So she must address those people not as Gen Zs, but as voters and electorate. Because there's no generation that is crazy enough or mad enough just to come out and start banning things or doing whatever. There must be an underlying problem that push a generation to that wall. And for them to move to that wall, there must also be somebody who never accepted to listen to them. So We are not in a generational war. We are in a generational problem that we need to agree to have a conversation over. It's not trying to shut me down. It's trying to give me a space to speak. Because if you give me a space to speak, you'll implement it. Unaona hawa watu wa opposition wanasema, in fact wanasaidia Ruto kukampeni wanasema huyu hajafanya hivi, Ruto anaenda anafanya. So sometimes opposition is not wrong. Sometimes it's not where you want to be.
But is it not okay? He actually does something because someone mocked him.
No, but you see, at the end of the day, if I was not having water in my house, na mtu akasema kwamba Ruto amevel juice yake kama ananiwekea maji, I'm better off. You see? I'm better, and that's why opposition by its nature should keep government on toes, not oppose government. Mwambie hapa kuna kitu mbaya wafanye. Because nobody wants a government to fail.
Wait, what is the difference?
No, you see, nobody wants a government to fail. Let's get that very clearly. Nobody wants that you root on the president fail, sasa. And everybody benefit when a government succeeds. Everybody benefit. So we are not in a process that I want to take credit that mimi ndo nilifanya. So if I say, for example, barabara kutoka hapa hadi huko ni mbaya, na Ruto anafaa atoke, na Ruto hunde hiyo barabara. So nataka kumtoa mbona. Because what do I want to do for the people? It's to make the same barabara. So when politics move to issues that mimi ndo nataka tu nikoe kwa pani itwe president, then we help the country move forward. The problem we've been having is not even opposition to oversight and keep government on toes. It's opposing from the word opposition. But we should not be opposing. We should be guiding. Anybody elected in this government today, whether ni MC or MP, is not an opposition. I never elected my MP to be an opposition. Hata kuja kwangu after 7 years and 5 years aniambia venye alioppose vizuri, so nimchague tena. They had an agenda. And what they have to do is to help that agenda be actualized by ensuring that it works. But when you start treating each other as we ni enemy na we into friend, no, we are not in that conversation. The reason why I'm your enemy is because I want you to do something for me and you don't want to do it. If you do it for me, why should I be still your enemy? So we need to take our politics away from the traditional opposition and opposing every time. We need better welfare for our people.
And that is why the opposition will never come and tell you, the president has done a very good job on SHA. Even if he has. But they will always tell you SHA is not working because mahospitali hazijalipwa, madaktari hawajalipwa, sijui kuna nini imefanyika wapi, Duale alituambia kuna 50 billion somewhere imepotea, 11 billion. Yeah. Now they will never tell you the excess, the successes.
But Mbuvi, if they tell you what is not working, it's still also to your advantage. So that you can make it work.
Opposition chooses everything.
But how do we hold the government to account?
And that's why account is by pointing what is wrong, what was never right, so that the government can do it. You see? When I'm saying, for example, I'm holding you to account. For example, nilikupea 500, umekuja na 300. So nimekwambia kwamba pesa nilikupea umetumia 300. Where's 200? When you produce 200, nitakuwa sawa. Unaona? So we must change the narrative that we are holding you into account so that you fail. We need you to actually show us how did you use our money. And kama hiyo tutakumulika, utahakikisha kwamba utatumia pesa vizuri. You see? And that's why we need to speak. Sometimes I say that when opposition speaks, don't blame them. Give them space to speak because they point to you what is wrong.
That's why I'm all for, even when we go to the streets, to complain and call out names, it's high time we also call out the opposition, because on that issue of them, opposing everything, that is where our other problem is, because they will never tell you the good things that are happening. They'll always point out the bad things, even if those bad things are not necessarily bad.
But why should I tell you what good thing you're doing? Why should I be the one to preach your good things?
But I'm against the opposition.
I'm here to help you by pointing what is wrong, so that you can correct it to be good. It is your work. Umoja kazi yako itakuuza. Umeona nikuja niambia watu ati huyu amefanya.
I think they have enough PR.
Why should you do that? You have your PR people, you have your spokesperson, you have
so now you understand why the opposition is always opposing.
No, it's not opposing. What I'm saying is to point out. There's a difference between opposing. Let me tell you, when I tell you kwamba hujavaa vizuri, sasa nasema wewe ni mbaya. Na kwambia uvae vizuri.
But sasa zile umeona nimevaa vizuri, si utakuja niambia hiyo shati iko poa, hiyo kofia iko fiti, hiyo kiatu iko on point.
No, that's also
But
that's also the problem we are having. But then to give credit on both sides, of course, it's not the work opposition. But sometimes when I start to have criticism, I'll start by saying, Anifa, you're beautiful. But there's something wrong somewhere. then move it beyond me being emotional, like nataka kureact. Mmoja kuna element like nikikwambia kitu fulani nataka kujidefend. No, when I say move the way you look, everything is okay, but maybe ukuchana nywele vizuri. You will take it positive.
But now you see, unaona shida ni, and I'm not saying that the government is perfect, but you will find that even when there's something good, they'll come and say, see poor because it is red, but it is good. It is okay. It is working. It is doing its purpose. It has, if it's a coffee, for example, if I wanted it to cover my head, it has covered my head. But they'll come and say that, oh, you should have done a yellow one because
no, but you should defend then. You see, the problem you're having opposition again, as you're saying, is slogans. Throw this. Baya. Iko hivi. So iko hivi. But why don't you go down and say?
So for them,
1, 2, 3.
For opposition, kila kitu inakuanga mbaya. Opposition will never tell the government that suit is absolutely beautiful.
It is not their job.
Good. I know it is not their job, but you know what I'm trying to say is, even when it is good,
they should be balanced.
No. Even when it is good, they will definitely come and say it is bad. Me, I am all for honest conversations. I am not for opposition. I am not for government. Me, I am for Kenyans. I am for Kenyans getting what they deserve. You will, like you were saying, sloganeering. Sometimes you will find that we are bashing the government or bashing an individual because he has been branded a certain thing. So there's a narrative that is being driven. Na unakuja kurealize, if you think about it critically, unakuja kurealize that thing they were saying about Hanifa is actually not true. But because there was such a strong voice from the opposition, you even start hating Hanifa because utaanza kuangalia Hanifa semenya hizo vitu ulimwengu ananiambia ni ukweli. I would rather, if there is nothing bad to point out, we just shut up on it and we focus on exactly the issues that we need to focus on.
But you see, the problem you're also having is the intention for me to correct you. And that's what you are calling out.
Yes.
If my intention to correct you is for you to be better,
yes,
I'll change my approach. If my intention to correct you is for you to fail, I'll know how to do it. You see? And the problem you're having is that the intention of any opposition is for you to come down. I want to bring you down. Not I want you to do what is right. No, I want you to fail. I want you to portray you as a bad person. But I'm just supposed to tell where your problem is. If I was to be a president today and the Gen Zs were to be in the street, let me tell you, I could not even allow you to read the street level. Because these people express their view. They say this is wrong. If you think it's right, why don't you create a platform and tell them how right it is? Why don't you convince them? If you think what you're doing is right, why don't you come and convince me? So you wait for me to be in the street, then you shoot me there, then you start telling me how it was right or good or wrong. You see, if you know, and what Hanifa is also saying, it's not my responsibility to say how good you are, but if you know you're doing what is good and somebody is saying it's wrong, why don't you just step in and say, no, it is not wrong, it is good because it go heavy. No, information gap creates a lot of what you call propaganda.
If there's
information gap.
Yeah, if there's anything we can agree about this current government, the Kenya Kwanza government, is that their communication iko down. Hiyo nao ni ukweli. They have really failed as far as communication is concerned, because there's some things unaonanga hata wakiatakiwa by the opposition or by anyone else, and they don't even come to defend their position.
But sometimes they also just fail. What do they want to defend?
Yeah.
So, or do they want to come and defend?
But then, do you know, Olimwengu, yes, you might have failed. Let's even take in the case of an examination. You probably failed an examination. You got an F. But there's a reason as to why you got an F. Maybe that day you were sick. Maybe on the said day you lost someone that you care for. So unapata ukifanya mtihani unakuwa confused. Sawa. So instead of kuja kuambia wase yenyewe nilianguka, ndio hiyo mtihani niligonga F. Lakini hiyo siku kulikuwa na noma, and I'm planning to repeat this examination. I'll perhaps even perform better going forward. The government doesn't do that. Wanaambia kwa mlipata F na bado wajitetee wananyamaza. And we continue with that narrative.
But you know, it's the responsibility of the government to keep the citizens informed.
They don't.
Before hata nikuja niseme kwamba unipe excuse when ulikuwa umeanguka whatever, I don't need the excuse. Tell me before even I raise it. Tell me the reason why Mombasa whatever road ijamalizwa ni because si tunaongoja tuende kwa kodi ndio kuja kuanza kuniambia what was wrong. Say it, you see? Because at the end of the day, if you say it, you walk in a transparent way and people will trust you. But if you are umejifungia huko alafu nikiongea unakuja na propaganda zako venye unataka kuform your own stories ati umejua tutenda whatever. And let me just focus on this. We are not interested even Ruto going 2-term and whatever. The key thing is, what does he want to do in that second term?
Yeah.
You see? The decision for you to come back again should be from the citizenry, not from you. If I gave you responsibility to be here and I've employed you to be here, the manager or the employer will tell you move songa mbele tena. Na uko sawa. But when umekuja hapa kuniambia wewe nipe tena nisonge tu mbele, that's nonsense. We don't want to hear this that give us 2 terms, nobody has gone 1 term, whatever. We don't want those things. What I elected you for is for my welfare to improve. So because you are trying to give me all stories, just account something. I know they have done something, and I don't refute. The government has done something. Whoever is opposing, or some of us who are coming in, should come in with what else do you want to do better, not what they failed to do.
Okay,
that's one thing.
Odibwengu, we've come to the end of the show. Hata tumepita na dakika kama 3 hivi. Parting shot, nitakuallow 1 minute.
We as a generation have a responsibility. Our responsibility is not to fail this nation. We've paid some price for it, and it should not be in vain that we paid the price. It's very important that the outcome of 2027 should be the outcome that should help the citizenry and our generation to be living a better life, not for us to go back and pay another sacrifice. And I believe if we are committed, we can do it. We can be the Davids that will face Goliath. We don't need a Goliath to be in the David's camp. We are capable.
Okay.
Let's believe in ourselves.
Thank you so much, Pigeon. We wish you all the best as far as your... Sasa utakuja kufanya official campaign lini?
No, nitakuja.
Sawa. That's all we have for today. A big shout out to Dawit Jene. Then there's Brian Nyaga Jr., Parkville Chegova, I believe it is, Elijah Sang, and Real Sucha. Amesema leta cock. Nakwambia leta cock. Hanifa, parting shot tukitokanga.
No, honestly, I'm still on the issue of kids. Kenya is failing its children. Our children are turning up dead kila mahali. Watoto wetu wanakufa, watoto wetu wanaumia. We need to do better as a country. We need to show up for our children. This should be a national crisis. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. This should concern everyone. We need to do better, honestly. We need to protect our children better. I will always preach about that.
Okay. We need to do better. See you tomorrow morning on the People's Breakfast with Siti Muga. But kwa sasa, kwa heri.